on Friday. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Harden chucks it in, knocked away, Strus' heave. That will do it. This series is all tied up at 2 games apiece.
1,000%. We weren't making shots, and our defense held true. That takes a lot for a group to be like open look after open look, not having your head down. Like that's what you want out of a group, but you feel like you could have got one, but we didn't. We just got to find a way, right? And we didn't. And they protected home court, so now it's our job to kind of do the same thing.
Just gonna get stops, man. We had 2-3 opportunities. Up 8 points, a couple stops in a row, get it up to double digits and go from there, but we just couldn't get them stops. We had an opportunity late in the third quarter to close the quarter. We didn't do a great job of closing the halftime. We didn't close the game, so that's the game right there.
We had trouble scoring all game, but so did they. So it was one of those type of games where it's tough to score the ball, typical playoff game. This seems like a typical playoff series to me. 4-5, 2-2. There's no big surprises here, no big mysteries.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Not going to freak out.
No?
No. I'm going to stay calm today.
Can I freak out?
You can, if you want to freak out, I just want everybody to know that you are freaking out. I am massively disappointed. I have felt a level of frustration yesterday and this morning that I've only really reserved for Sundays and Monday mornings in the fall. So I don't necessarily know how to handle myself, really, other than just, hey, remind myself it's a 2-2 series, it's a 4-5 matchup, and stay calm. If you want to lose your mind, the floor is all yours. I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm staying calm today. So if that ends up me getting ridiculed, fine, so be it. Ridiculed not by the fans. I'm talking about down the hallway. I'm staying calm today. It was very frustrating last night. I don't know what the hell it was.
You didn't enjoy your playoff experience yesterday?
No, I did not enjoy it.
Holy cow.
Maybe it's Sundays at 1 o'clock for every team in this city. I have no idea.
Owen, did you enjoy your experience?
No, and I'm a little upset with you, Anthony.
Me?
Because you've made me believe that it's time to get going. So I set my young son down and I said, it's time to be a basketball fan yesterday. And then halfway through the game, he goes, what am I watching?
Well, he's a wrestler.
Why do I have to watch this?
He's a wrestler. So
no,
he should
we spend our time in gyms in a much different way.
He should have recognized that it was an all-out wrestling match for 48 minutes yesterday.
It was pitiful shooting by both teams.
It was. I mean, I would say part of our...
The only wrestling match that happened was when we couldn't get the ball over that divider line in 8 seconds.
It's not a lot of time, okay? I mean, there's a lot of real estate to traverse there. A lot of bodies to kind of have to do whatever you can to matriculate the ball down the court. Oh, no, that's football. This is a very small space, and it should only take one dribble and 2 glides to get past half court. And Donovan is still trapped over there by the free throw line. Here's the thing.
You get mad. I'm staying calm.
Well,
today.
you compared it to a Browns Sunday. And I'm sure for a lot of you, it did feel that way. The difference here is I actually have expectations for my football team. I don't really for the Browns. So I've grown accustomed to the Browns Sundays being that, and I try to have fun with it. Regardless, I do it in good humor and ribbing and busting stones with buddies about the Browns. When it came to the Cavs game yesterday, and I could tell a lot of people, this was maybe the first time the Cavs were front and center. The draft was over.
I told you that on Friday morning. I go, there ain't no NFL to hide behind on Sunday.
There was nothing else. People were watching that come hell or high water, and the Cavs did what they have done, what all of you told me that the Cavs were going to do. They laid down. They did. They had an 8-point lead in a game where they were 4 minutes away from leading 3-1, and I was ready to tweet, ho-hum, up 3-1. And then what happened? The floodgates opened, and they blew an 8-point lead, and two of the baskets were just embarrassing. Were they allowed in a playoff context, in a game where it was so tough to dribble, move, pass, We'll talk about the turnovers. There were 30 of them combined between the two teams. The three-point shooting, Cavs were 25%, the Raptors were 13%, and somehow you coughed up an 8-point lead when I don't know if anybody disagrees with this. You have the clear talent advantage. How does that happen? And Kenny Atkinson last year after the Indiana series talked about toughness. And I don't know if he just meant physical, because I thought mentally they were a little fried last year. I am worried about their mental abilities with 3 games left in this year. Hopefully 3 games. Yeah, I mean, that would presume that the Cavs actually win a game at home, which they will have Wednesday. They will be favorites. They're still favorite in the series. But yeah, Kenny, I am shaken. If you asked me, do I think we'll win the series? I'd say, well, I think we should. Toronto.
You say yes.
Toronto.
Don't.
I
no,
think we should.
No. Be a man. Okay.
Well, I think.
And now I'm actually going to get mad, but I'm mad at you.
No, that's not on me. This is. I saw everybody was coming after me yesterday.
Yeah, you're writing checks.
Yeah, go after.
Writing great big checks like your wife won while she ran the race.
She did, and we'll get to that a little bit later on.
And it shows out that the check might be worth than the actual money that it costs to give it to you. The check might have been more, and you're writing checks. You need to stand up for yourself.
He's not the only one that
and be
wrote
a man.
checks, though. You wrote yours in pencil.
Yeah, well, okay, guys, I'll take my loss. See, this is the difference. I'll take it. I'll take it right on the chin. You're not going to do that. You're not going to weasel out of this. Don't sit there and say, well, I'm not. No. You do. I almost cussed at you. You go after it. You sat there. You gave Nick a bunch of hell, all right? You got a lot of people mad at Nick, and you got me mad at Nick, to be honest with you. Now, Nick, I'll give him credit. I thought for sure he would, I'm sorry. No, he has gone headlong into it, man. He has gone headlong challenging this team. 2 o'clock today is going to be
the Raptors pep rally. Hopefully he brings his gifts.
I can't help but listen. He
better be wearing the socks. Nick Wilson, you own those socks. You better be wearing those Raptors socks.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm gonna have to choke him out. I'm going to want to choke him out. I'm not going to have to. I'm going to want to. But he went headlong into it, and he earned it, and you're not going to sit there and pussyfoot around the situation. You're going to stand in there, and you're going to be a man. That's what you're going to do. You said a lot of things. You called a lot of people stupid. You said they weren't ball knowers. Now you have to go back at them. It's a 2-2 series. I don't need you laying down just like they did yesterday when they're up by 8 with 3.5 minutes left to go. I thought that game was over.
I thought
that game was finito.
It should have been over.
And that was it. And I watched it, and what got me upset is that, all right, you're in a tough atmosphere. See, now I'm gonna. This is still calm me. You've heard me get mad, so don't even say I'm freaking out. At the end of the first half, you're up. It's a tough atmosphere. I mean, at one point,
we scored 36 points in the first half. By the way,
I'll just tell you guys this. So there was a time where I was going over.
36.
I was going over
first quarter.
Oh, no. We scored 17 in the first quarter, and we're leading.
Well, I was going over the cheat sheet for my draft picks, right? So I knew what to say during the offseason and things like that. Just real quick things, blurbs that I had written. Some of it like Fano and Concepcion and Boston and Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, honestly, all the way down to really, actually, except for Carson Ryan, I had it right up on all of them. So I had it there. So there were a couple times I was like taking my eyes off it. And I'm listening. Was it Rucco who was the play-by-play guy?
Oh, yeah.
All right. For
and
a second.
Jay Billis, who had nothing good to say about your basketball team the entirety of the game. Even when they were up 8. When they were up 8, you would have thought we were down 30.
So I thought, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm listening for a second. I go, oh, my God. I looked up, and they were going to break, and the Cavs were still up like 6. And I'm going, well, as bad as things are, we're still up like 6. And then the flurry at the end of the first half where we lost, we were down at the end of the first half, and like Chuck calling out the Cavs, and I don't know. Did you watch a halftime show?
I did not.
Okay, so he was calling out the Cavs. Like that's the one pre-half post I will watch are those guys there. That's about it anymore. I'll watch a little bit. I'll watch Big Noon Kickoff if I have time, but usually we got other things to go on. So I'm watching that. Didn't feel much better. I'm like, all right, let's just figure it out in the second half. I thought they did. They're up like 8. And I'm like, all right, y'all win sloppy. I texted you and Tony Fabric. I was like, I'll win sloppy. That's fine. No big deal. And then they lost. And they lost in just the most uninspiring, soft fashion, slack-ass fashion. And I'm just going, how do I react to this? And I just sat there and I stared at the wall and I go, oh my God, this is Brown Sunday. This is Brown Sunday. I'm just staring off into the abyss. I start texting you. I told you not to call me. I was going to proceed to drink, and I don't like to drink over sad things. So I was like, well, you know
Ken
what?
Doesn't like to drink.
It's a Sunday. Not over bad things. Not over bad things. I don't like to drink out of sadness. Don't drink when you're sad. And I decided, you know what? Sunday, weather's nice, and wasn't feeling very good yesterday morning, but you know what? The hell with it. We're gonna have a few cocktails, and we're gonna power through this because I'm pretty upset. So, and then I thought better about it. I go, you know what? It's a 2-2 series. Let's not go losing our minds over here, all right? Let me try to process this. So I'm going to remain calm, but that's me. You have people you need to answer to right now, and you ain't going to weasel out of it.
Well,
be a man.
Let's start out. The reason I was optimistic about this team is the talent advantage, and I do think that I still think the Cavs have more talent than Toronto. I think they have put you.
Yeah, that's why people are ready to fist fight each other over this.
Well, and
they're better.
And the next part of this is. I would come into the series saying, well, we have Donovan Mitchell. They don't have anything like Donovan Mitchell. And the thing is, Donovan Mitchell, who has had a very interesting playoff resume that now has been put under the microscope because he's had these all-time playoff performances, the 50-point games, the 40-point games, the huge fourth quarters, putting teams on his back in 2 different cities, and yet has never been out of the second round. But part of what I've said about this team all year is, hey, you can question Donovan Mitchell once we get further in the playoffs. What you can't question him is early in a playoff setting and early in the playoff stretch, right? First round, second round, he's had these monstrous games. He just threw back-to-back duds. He was 6 of 24 in that game yesterday, and I can't even think, like, he's been a 3-level scorer his entire career. He looks like he can't get into the paint. And when he does get into the paint, he's trying to draw fouls. I don't know what that was with 45 seconds left. He had a pretty clean look, and he got off balance because he was trying to draw a foul. It was very bizarre. The heat check threes in a game where no heat checks should be permitted. Like, the amount of possessions where he just came down and shot a three while Toronto had all 5 guys underneath the basket. Like, it is a bizarre Donovan Mitchell. And so, for anybody that questioned the Cavs, the one thing I thought you couldn't question was Donovan Mitchell was going to be able to bring it. And he has it, and that's, I just talked about his offense. He's played 0 defense in the series. And so Donovan Mitchell giving you playoff duds in the first quarter, I did not have that as a possibility. I didn't. So, come after me, whatever. I thought the one given was that Donovan Mitchell was going to be able to show. And he just totally goose-egged out in Toronto. And that is what I'm worried about. What is going on with Donovan Mitchell?
Take your pick. Donovan struggled. I know that, you mentioned the pregame. Pregame. I didn't see Nick's Wright's tweet about James.
Yeah,
about
more
Harden.
turnovers than field goals. Because Harden was on a lower list of problems that I had with the team yesterday.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I thought at least James Harden was unafraid. I saw a bunch of guys that were afraid. I saw Donovan passed up some open threes. I saw Max Strus. You're never allowed to pass an open three because what else are you giving the team? Like,
there was only one guy that didn't look afraid yesterday. That's Sam Merrill.
And Sam Merrill came in and played well.
And that's a problem when Sam Merrill's your tough guy, right? Your guy with
he got
spirit.
called for that flagrant.
Well,
they called that a wind-up.
I wonder, I got to tell you. And
whatever. Toronto shot 36 free throws in that game.
I'm starting to wonder in that game. And this might be, I'm hoping it's not true. By the time they play game 5, you're coming back home. You better figure your life out. Damn it. Okay? Because when you start losing in a series, then I start to wonder. And when you're losing to a team that a lot of us thought that they were better than Indiana last year. Now, Indiana was certainly not a lousy team. They were a good team, and they were better than you last year. But going into the series, we thought we were better than Indiana going into the series, correct? Mm-hmm. They ended up being better, sure. So we were wrong. But I'm going back to this because I'll say this: I'm wondering if they're playing ghosts of the past. I wonder if they're playing ghosts of the Knicks series. I wonder. The Celtics series was a Celtics series. I kind of put that. The Celtics were supposed to be a splendid team. But, man, that Indiana series, even though Indiana came about a half away from winning a championship, if Tyrese Halliburton wouldn't have got hurt, but, this, that, and the other, you still were favored. You lost. You're favored in this series. It's 2-2. You've been favored before, and it hadn't gone your way. And I'm just, you start to wonder because you're trying to find reasons for it, why they're so pensive, then they're so hesitant. And then it's like, man, when you're going to play sloppy basketball, and both teams were sloppy last night. It's like, or yesterday afternoon. It's like, I hate to be so cliche, who wants it more? It's like, you're going to have to sell out and you're going to have to do it. Because the difference, you can hear it, the difference is 3-1. We're talking draft today. 3-1, you're supposed to beat this team, supposed to be that series, that's it. 3-1, I'm arguing with you about Taylor Green and how to use him in an offense, how much I want to see him in the preseason. And here I am going, I can't believe you sat here and lost this. This is dumb. This is a dumb loss. This is a dumb way to lose a game. Slopping it up. You could have slopped your way to a win. We would have talked about it, but I would have been fine. And now here you are at 2-2, and people are freaking out. They're absolutely freaking out. And the reason that they're freaking out is because I'm looking at the call screen right now. They don't believe you're mentally tough. So I'm going to try to remain calm because it's the most expensive roster in the NBA.
Yes, it is.
It's one of the most experienced rosters in the NBA. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, if they can't do it, if they somehow lose this series, then what have I been boiling my guts for and angry for? Because clearly this is just not the right mix. I'll stand by it and say they did what they had to do at the times they had to do it, but clearly this would not be the right mix if they go and they lose. But I'm not going to say that yet. It's a 2-2 series for the love of God. I'm not going to freak out on everybody here. Well, I'm going to try to remain calm. I'm not happy, but I got to remain calm.
Pretty big 2 or 3 games left in this season for Donovan Mitchell, for his legacy, as his playoff resume has been under examination over the last 12 hours. And John sent us a tweet. Young John sent us a text yesterday and said, this be the last home game on Wednesday for Donovan Mitchell, last time he plays in Cleveland?
I thought was asinine, and then you said, well, actually.
I said, yeah, it's on the table. It 100% is on the table. So if for those that are wondering like what the stakes are and why I love the NBA playoffs and why this stuff actually means something and why I all weekend I watched so much playoff basketball while there was an NFL draft going on in the background for me. And I've said my life has been defined, Kenny, by the playoffs. Like the stakes are pretty high. And I would look at Donovan Mitchell front and center. You better bring it Wednesday because your legacy is 100% at stake.
216-474-0092. There's some people here who want to call you out. I hope they stay.
They want to call the Cavs out?
No, they want to call you out. Okay. They want to call you out for calling people out about the Cavs.
I should have got a defensive rebound in the last 6 minutes. They didn't get
720,
one. They didn't get one.
720, Danny Cunningham. 822, the dangerous one, Darryl Ryder.
Not one.
Well,
I've never heard of that before.
Should you be signing off on these checks now by the Cleveland Cavaliers? 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan.
92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
The game of basketball is mental, so you got to, obviously, when things are going crazy, crowd's going crazy, they make a run, we make a run, you still got to focus on the task at hand and what you're supposed to be doing. So at times we were really good, and sometimes we just didn't, execute down the stretch, and which, causes the game. But, we had an opportunity last game. We had an opportunity definitely tonight to win the game, and I think we're definitely confident about, where we are.
216-474-0092. I'm calm.
Sure seems like it. You keep bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay.
Well, I have to tell myself that so I don't say a bunch of stupid things. It's still a 2-2 series. They're the better basketball team. Come on. Figure it out. Yesterday was a frustrating day. I'm frustrated. It's not an excuse for losing that game. You should have won that game. You're the better basketball team. Close this out. I'm not going to sit here and make an ass out of myself in the air. I'm going to expect more out of this team, because if they don't win this series, then what the hell's the point of me getting mad? This is clearly not a great basketball team, clearly not a great mix of players. And yeah, break the damn thing up if you can't beat Toronto. So what's the point of me freaking out? There's no point of freaking out.
Well, it's just that we and people like me have tried to talk about how wide open the East was. And by the way, still believe that. I mean, I still totally believe. I mean, look around, the Knicks, they're talking the same way about the Knicks right now in New York. That's an all-in situation.
Yeah.
Boston, they finally played really well yesterday against a Philly team that tried to introduce Joel Embiid, halfway through the series. But Philly was giving them all sorts of problems. Detroit, you want to talk about a team that is in crisis mode as well with what Orlando. So all I'm saying is the East was wide open. That was a big part of why I was excited about the postseason. But the Cavs came down to earth after winning the first two games, very workmanlike, those first two games. And look, Toronto still has to win a game in Cleveland to have a chance to win the series.
And that's
obviously
part of the reason I'm not going to sit here and start screaming things and getting mad.
But what are the answers? What are the Cavs' answers? Because they're just flat out not guarding Evan Mobley. They're not guarding Jared Allen.
Hit the
They're
shots.
not guarding Dean Wade.
Hit the shots.
So the paint
you can hit the shots.
is a no-fly zone.
Well, you've hit the shots before. Hit the shots.
They all three combined for 18 points yesterday.
It was, and that's not good. That's not going to be good enough. So I don't think that they're going to just combine for 18 points like they did
Merrill
yesterday.
had 14 by himself.
And I'm going to take this as a bad loss, but I'm not saying I'm not going to say it's like this complete outlier or anything like that. It was sloppy on both sides. That's if they would have lost by 30, then I go, it's a bad day at the office. Pick yourselves up. Let's get going. No, you had chances to just slop your way to a win, and it could have been a 3-1 series. And I could have been in a much happier place. I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied. But there's no point in me sitting here trying to tell everybody that the sky is falling when if the impossible does happen and they lose this series, then what's the point of me getting mad? Just make the trades. Let's go. Well, I guess we'll just start early. We'll start early in a year, and this is the beginning of a new era Cavs basketball, whenever that may be. So it's right there in front of you. So I'm not trying to alarm anybody, and I'm not going to freak out.
The alarming part is it's tough to imagine that the team we just saw over the weekend would be able to, even if they win this series, and they are, did you say they're 9.5 point favorites on Wednesday?
Yeah, come on.
But if they are unable to kind of get through, if they are able to get through this series, what is going to be left? I mean, Jared Allen already looks like, and he played defense and rebounded, but he's a non-entity offensively because he can't get up. He can't get up in the air. That two-man game with Harden's just not going to be applicable at all to the rest of the series.
No.
Or maybe even the rest of the playoffs because he's going to be managing his situation. Evan Mobley, outside of the two times they went to him in the third quarter, right out of the gates, that was it. That was it for Evan Mobley. Bye-bye for the rest of the game. So it's hard to conjure up a way that this is going to turn around. Now, I know we live very game to game in this world of the NBA playoffs. That is what's amazing about the NBA playoffs, that it is life or death, and we totally lose our minds after every game. But to see it twice, a team as offensively challenged as the Toronto Raptors are, hold you at bay this way and have your stars look the way they have, it is, to me, alarming. It is.
216-474-0092. Thomas in Shaker Heights, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Thomas.
Hey guys, hey Ken, hey. Hey, Anthony, I'm sorry. I'm kind of frustrated this morning also. You know, my biggest problem is that Donovan Mitchell doesn't have that killer instinct. Charles said it best on the halftime show. You know, when you watch LeBron and you remember we had Kyrie, one thing about them is during that fourth quarter, when we had a league in the playoffs in the fourth quarter, they showed up. And it just feels like Donovan just gets too comfortable in the fourth quarter. Like, we could blame Evan, we could blame James Harden, but the fact of the matter is that you're playing against a team, like you said, Lima, is offensively challenged. You're up by 7 in the fourth quarter. In the game, like, just turn up. Become Donovan. Do whatever you can to end that game. Like he doesn't have that go-getter mentality. Like, it's not about being soft. It's about having, how Kobe would say, that Mamba mentality. He don't have that, man. He just don't. I'm sorry, man. Donovan might not be
I don't know.
Sounds like he's a real doubting Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas,
Thank you for the call.
I feel that that's
You're
little
welcome, Owen.
unfair for a guy
Thumbs up.
that has dropped in the playoffs 57, 51, 50, 48, 45, 44, 43, 39, 39. Like, if that's not a killer instinct, you could say it's, okay, that's early. It's a lot of first series in the play. Well, that's what we're in. We're in a first-round series, and he's been able to do this. I don't know what is going on with Donovan.
He had 30 points. He had over 30 points the first 2 nights of this series. It was a bad day yesterday. I'm going to be defensive of Donovan. I don't think it's a Donovan problem. If they're going to blitz him, there's got to be other guys who are able to pick up the slack. And I'm not going to blame Donovan right on this one. I mean, when you're up by 8, you should be able to finish it off. I'm not going to put it on him. Yes.
Well, there's 2 clear instances at the end of the game where it was Donovan's fault. He didn't get the ball over the timeline. Like, you have to get the ball over the timeline.
But somebody's got to come pick him up and help him.
Forcing the 3-point shot when you think you're going to get the foul, when he had a good look without trying to draw the foul.
Somebody's got to come back there and pick him up and help him. Nobody's helping him. Who's helping him? So,
getting the ball.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Fine.
Getting the ball past half court. Allow me a second here. It's inexplicable. I don't understand the slow rolling of the ball to begin with, which is something I see more and more in the NBA. I don't see what the advantage is. It wasn't like in that situation you're just killing clock. You got to get going. You can't turn the ball over in that way. And what is wrong with just getting the ball across half court and then holding it? What is wrong with that? It's not college. There's no 5-second count. It's not like teams are capable of just stealing the ball from you once you get over the half court line. Like, these guys are gifted enough and talented enough with their dribble to create space. Why do they take their good old time to get it past half court? And then in that situation, at that point in the game, that was all-time mind-boggling. I don't understand. When you talk about mental toughness, that just looks like you're slow walking the ball for no reason. What was the point? What are you getting out of that?
Jacob in Geneva, you're next up on the Fan. Hello, Jacob.
Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
Doing all right. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the other person hit on it, and Donovan Mitchell not having the killer instinct when it matters the most. But when you're turning the ball over, you're not making free throws, which has been a problem pretty much the entire series and going bath to the regular season.
Missed 8 yesterday.
You're getting out-rebounded. But my question for Lima is, the ball knower, why is the Browns looking like the more competent franchise over the weekend than the Cavs? Because
I'm used to the Browns.
Have a good break, Jacob.
I'm used to the Browns every year, and I just, there are things I set my watch to. The Browns being awful during the actual regular season, and then them winning the draft and winning the offseason. I'm used to that. What's new about that? That was a great draft.
Yeah,
I said it last year. But I think we've all said it every year since we've been on the station.
I'm not going to make this a Browns versus Cavs things. One team did in the playoffs. The other team is in April. It's that simple, right?
Yeah.
What other trades were the Cavs going to make? They traded who was available
feel good
at
about
the time.
Browns after the weekend.
Yeah, so I'm not going to turn this into a Browns versus Cavs thing. No.
Now, Vegas does have the Browns as the 4th worst Super Bowl odds right now, so they didn't get the message.
Well, you got to crawl before you walk.
Maybe they were watching the NBA playoffs like I was all weekend.
At 7:20, Danny Cunningham going to join us on the show. We'll talk Cavs with him and whether or not the Cavs are in a lot of trouble. People still want to call out Lima. We'll get to some of you guys in. I'm having a hard time speaking about the Browns. I'm having a hard time. You say I'm not freaking out about the Cavs. I'm having a hard time not freaking out about the Browns because I like this draft, and I might say some things that are pretty irresponsible because there are 2 drafts that are lining up that somebody isn't around anymore, and I'm starting to get some wild ideas. Kenny Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
Express Auto Wash location. Or treat yourself to the very best signature, cleanest Unlimited Wash Club membership for just $42. For locations, hours, or to buy online, visit cleanexpresswash.com today.
The best playoff coverage in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
40 minutes away, Danny Cunningham. It's weird. Nobody's accusing the Browns of trying to be the smartest guys in the room. And I'm just kind of wondering, is it because the guy who thought he was the smartest guy in the room has left the room? Hasn't been in the room for the last couple of drafts? 216-474-0092. I'm just thinking out loud. Is that Lima's in battle mode when it comes to the Cavs right now? So I'll just go off on a tangent. Not on a tangent myself.
Tangent?
Well, not a tangent. I love the draft, and I can't help but think it's not the deepest draft ever. I understand that, or it's not the strongest draft class ever. I understand that when it comes to just the general 2026 draft. I think you got good football players here, and I don't know. I'm just kicking it around. I go, there's someone missing, and somehow all of a sudden we're liking these drafts over the last couple of years. And I'm just trying to put two and two together is all I'm doing. I can't say it for sure because they got to put on their helmets and they got to go play, but they look like good football players. And it's just, it speaks more of a common sense of a draft. You need some offensive linemen. You get some offensive linemen. You need weapons. You get weapons. You're not punting to next year with this draft pick. I mean, you could have sat there and just turned in this draft, and it would have been just whatever, and you could have went to 2027. You got some 2027 draft capital back, but you made picks that are solid all the way through. I mean, Taylor Green in the 6th round I think is fun. I just think it's a solid draft, and I don't think I've really felt this way, or a lot of fans have felt this way when there was a certain somebody that was still in the building, and that person is no longer in the building. All of a sudden, it just seems like Andrew Berry is making common sense decisions for this football team. I can't say it for sure, but you can't tell me that a lot of Browns fans don't feel that way, Anthony.
I saw a lot of that. I just don't understand how we all
know the certain somebody is, right?
DePodesta?
Yes.
I don't understand I think a lot of people are making assumptions. I saw a lot of people saying, well, this is all about...
You can't help but assume when you never really knew what the guy did.
Well, right. But if you didn't know what he did, why were we assigning all the bad draft picks to him and the picks we liked to Andrew Berry? And then I saw it with Catherine.
I'll tell you why.
People were mentioning that. Yeah, people were talking about Telesco helping out. I saw Chris Polian has been with them now for a couple of years. So everybody is just in their mind connecting dots. And I'm like, I don't know. They didn't have first-round picks for 3 years. I think that probably had more to do with it than any of the other.
That might have some with it.
You think? That's a pretty big deal to not have 3 years straight of first-round picks. And now when we have the first-round picks, it's a lot easier to embrace the draft.
No 3 first-round picks even before that. Like some of the decisions that were made, I didn't necessarily care for it, and not a lot of Browns fans cared for it. It just seems to be perfect timing. And I understand. Listen, I get it. I think that he might have been some sort of a source for you or something because you get very defensive of Paul DePodesta anytime he gets brought up. So I knew I was going to be going in. Yeah, you always say. Every time Paul DePodesta gets brought up, you always notice.
I think I've gone after him for plenty of reasons.
Every time he gets brought up, you go, I think you guys make too big of a deal of the role he has. You know, he's not as involved as what you think he is. And I'm going, how do you know this? All I know him to be is a Rasputin-type figure that everybody has no idea what type of role he actually played within the organization. And it just seems to be perfect timing. I know that's an odd word to say right now.
It's awfully convenient that we're looking for the mysterious ways of why the drafts were bad in the past, and now we've knocked them out of the park. Let's see these guys in training camp at least.
Well, last year they knocked them out of the park, and I'm saying all I can go is on what I know right now. I just said they got to put on equipment and play, but I think that a lot of this is just common sense. I think these are solid decisions.
Did you like? I gotta say, obviously, I love their first pick. I love the trade down. I loved everything about that. I gave Andrew Berry a ton of credit for that. I don't know if I'm as enthused about the wide receivers that they took. I got to be honest. I like Cooper a little more than both these guys. So I do have questions about them. I don't know that. In a perfect world, what do you think these wide receivers are?
I think they're both. They could be solid number 2s for a team.
Okay, so how do they get? So that's the one thing I would question. Like, where are they getting a number 1 wide receiver? Because we know Jerry Jeudy isn't one, and I don't think either of these guys fit the bill.
You could have got your number 1 wide receiver if Carnell Tate were still on the board. Carnell Tate wasn't on the board, so they went and they got their left tackle. And then they got Casey Concepcion. Now, I'm not going to hide away with what I said. I said I would have traded up.
Yeah, you were not thrilled with the KC pick.
I would have traded up a little bit. I would have got Mekhi Lemon. I would have traded up and got Mekhi Lemon. I was an advocate for that the same way with Nathan.
I thought they would trade up too. I was a little surprised at that. And the Denzel Boston stuff is really interesting because finally they got a guy that physically has size. And, the contested catch thing is something you would hope. That's a buzz term that we hear a lot around this time of year, obviously. At the same time, man, it's tough to see him getting separation in the NFL.
I'll tell you with this. With day 2, see, I thought he could get – big body. I know he can get out of the break. And also, he's fast. He has a punt return touchdown last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like he's slow all of a sudden. I love their night 2. You're at 39. You stay there. Denzel Boston comes to you. I thought it was fish in a barrel. You make that decision. It was fine. I mean, I was sitting there. I didn't think he'd be around at 39. I couldn't believe that Emmanuel McNeil-Warren was there at 58.
Yeah, that pick I loved. I absolutely love that pick.
I got no issues personally. Personally, I mean off-field stuff, like why these guys would fall. Like Jermon McCoy had a serious knee injury. Looks like he's going to have another surgery on it. Like you could see, hate to say it, terrible feeling, why he would fall in the draft. But like Denzel Boston, I was surprised he was there for you at 39. I was really surprised Emmanuel McNeil-Warren was there for you at 58. I love what they did day 2. And then day 3,
I agree, though. I would have rather had them trade up for wide receiver where they were with all the ammo they had. I was surprised they just kind of stood there. So that would be my potential negative. Overall, yeah, I mean, they had as much draft capital as anybody. So that's the beauty of the NFL. I was talking to the guys before the show. It is amazing. The NFL has something that the other leagues don't have, and it is that this draft every year, you get 10 new football players. You get anywhere from 7 to 10 to 11 football players every year, and it's why basically every team's fan base in the NFL is ecstatic with the exception of one, and they happen to be right down the road. They happen to be where the draft was.
Very upset. Gosh, they were getting – I mean, even this guys like John Ledyard, who is a draft guy, and he grew up a Steelers fan, like he – could not believe some of the picks that they had made. He thought that they were absolutely ridiculous over this last weekend, the Pittsburgh Steelers were. But I needed guys. They wanted to go the classic route, and I could see them going the classic route because I thought Carnell Tate was going to be there at 6. Carnell Tate wasn't there at 6, so then it changes that.
Do you think they would have definitely taken Carnell?
Oh, I can't guarantee that. I
don't know.
If Carnell Tate was there at 6, I could have questioned motivations. And I could have questioned, not motivations, I could have questioned how they went through the process. But since he wasn't there and he was the guy that I thought is like, this is to me the number 1 wide receiver in this draft. This is to me where you go. When he wasn't there at 6, you could see all that playing out. And they took Spencer Fano, who I think is going to be a really nice player for you. He's going to raise that floor for you. How high is his ceiling? I'm not going to put him in the Munoz-Thomas category for crying out loud. We'll see how that goes. But certainly he raises the floor for you. And with Concepcion, yeah, there was some questionable things with catching, but a lot of people are bringing up his quarterback play, which I could absolutely see. I think people can bring up a lot of the other weapons that they had or didn't have.
He's a perfect fit. By the way, for Browns fans, he's a perfect fit because for the last year, all we did was blame everybody else but the quarterback, and over there they blame the quarterback. So now the two systems merge.
Yeah, and I'll go with this. Like again, Ledyard and Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Absolutely, Harmon loves him. I mean, just loves him. So I'm gonna acquiesce to Matt Harmon, who I'm gonna say, yeah, okay, you know more about the wide receiver position than I do. If Matt Harmon loves him, I'm not going to sit there and overthink, and I'll hold my breath and be a little bit worried because drops are drops are drops. You get worried about that, but I'm going to go by the experts. I'm going to go, okay, this guy should be a fine wide receiver for you.
I'm just kind of bummed with all the ammo that the Browns have to not land one of the top 3 or 4 wide receivers on most boards. That, to me, we will be looking at to see if that is a mistake tactically or if it ends up
wasn't Casey Concepcion a top 3 wide receiver on a lot of boards?
Most of them, it was Tate, Tyson, Lemon. That was most of the boards I saw going into the draft.
I can't, man. Maybe you're just What if Spencer Fano ends up becoming a Pro Bowler? When Pro Bowls matter.
That's more important.
Like second team All-Pro
100%.
consistently.
These are the inflection points. You're exactly right.
Okay.
Because obviously offensive line is always going to trump wide receiver. But
then
I don't know. He's the floor. What I was excited about Fano was the floor.
Well, let me tell you why.
The ceiling is not something a lot of the people, a lot of the pundits had him being able to, get to over time.
Let me tell you why I disagree when we come back, because I thought a lot of this was common sense. 216-474-0092. Danny Cunningham going to join us at 7:20. The Cavs were a mess last night because of the way they lost. We'll get into that because I'm still not freaking out, and a lot of you think I should. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan.
by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Baseball, basketball, and the Browns. It's why you need the afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2.
"20 minutes away, Danny Cunningham going to join us on the show. So let me tell you why I disagree with you. You said you were disappointed by the wide receivers. Like, I think you had to make a pick. You had to make a choice, I should say. Obviously, you made a pick. You made 10 picks, for crying out loud. But you had to make a choice here. Because to me, the disaster scenario was going into Thursday, and we're gonna get back to the Cavs and their loss, and I'm not freaking out. Somebody else in this room kind of is. I can sense it, and the fans want to freak out on him. But let me tell you why I disagree with you. I thought that the disaster scenario that they avoided was taking a Monroe Freeling or, God, the Caden Proctor stuff just wouldn't stop about how they were going to trade down and take Caden Proctor. And I like his athleticism. I like his strength. I think his feet are better than what people want to give him credit for. My concern was you take a guy, and I'm sensitive to this, obviously, because I know I'm a radio show host, and there's kind of a rail you shouldn't always touch about talking about other people's bodies and weight. But for an offensive lineman, it's easier to put weight on than it is to keep weight off. And I was worried about that. Now you bring in a guy like Spencer Fano, who was basically a number one for a lot of folks out there. And to say that he's generational or anything like that, no. I'm not going to say that. I think he certainly raises the floor a great deal. And anything above that, if he ends up like Anthony Munoz or Joe Thomas, great, be wonderful. But I think he's going to be obviously solid and sturdy for you for a long time. Good kid, good player. Didn't give up a whole lot when he was in college. Didn't give up a whole lot of sacks. Was good on the run game, which I thought was weird with some of the criticisms that I saw where a lot of people said he was good in the run game, but they also said he lacked upper body strength. They go, man, his feet must be incredible if he's good in the run game, but he lacks upper body strength. Like, these things don't always make sense to me when it comes to the differences in opinion on how a guy's going to play. But you mentioned the wide receiver. Had they had taken a Monroe Freeling or a Caden Proctor, and then you aren't able to start him, and then you take a wide receiver later on, fine. But I think you just had to make a choice about what's more important to you. They decided inside out was more important. They decided to build with a great lineman, and then they decided to build with the third or fourth, depending on who you are talking to, wide receiver in this draft. They could have went the other way, and I thought for a second they were going to go the other way.
Yeah, we did wonder that.
And if Carnell Tate was on the board, perhaps they may have taken Carnell Tate. I have nothing that tells me that they would have. But if Carnell Tate wasn't on the board, since Carnell Tate wasn't on the board, maybe I have the Tennessee Titans to thank, because this could be as solid as you get. You get a good offensive. You're hopefully going to be getting a good offensive line again. Now, George Warhop has got the most pressure on him that I think any assistant coach has had with the Browns in a while, and certainly in the city of Cleveland, I would say this year, because that offensive line has to protect whoever's going to play quarterback. But you were going to have to give up something. You were going to have to give up the idea of the number one wide receiver in this draft, a number one for your team. These are two solid number twos, and to say, well, when are they going to get that number one wide receiver? It may be a year, it may be never. I don't know. It may be a trade. It might be a trade someday down the line for somebody disgruntled, because you're thinking 2027. We're going to see how these quarterbacks play it out in 2026, and I made my cheat sheet for a reason about 2027, even over the weekend when I got home on Saturday night. I started in on the stuff for 2027 and just going, hey, I better be ready. I got 13 guys here, 14 guys here to pay attention to for the future, and we're going to find it all out. And if they got to take their quarterback in 27, well, they're probably going to have to move up and do it, because they certainly didn't punt to 2027 with this draft. These are solid players.
Well, what would a punt have looked like to you?
I've heard you say that. Doing what Joe Banner did and getting rid of all your picks. Having 5 draft picks or whatever it was, and moving on to next year, knowing that this team is going to be good, that's what that would have been.
That would have only made sense if you could get first-rounders in 2027, and who was giving those up?
Nobody was giving them up.
So that, I don't think any team would have been punting in that regard.
They could have, if they really, really, really wanted to. You know, the whole T word gets brought out. And
I want to get to this.
Well, you see what Miami's trying to do, and you see what a couple of teams are trying to do. They could have moved back and just taken guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round or whatever to help out their situation and possibly being able to get Archman. They didn't do that. These are solid football players that I think are going to help. I mean, good guy. I can't see anybody having a problem with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
No, loved it.
For the love of God.
Absolutely loved it. A little nervous when he talked about they unearthed some footage of him talking about going after Derrick Henry, wanting to hit Derrick Henry. I'm like, well, that didn't go so well for another Browns player, so we should probably
it went well for Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit went right after the guy. I mean, to hell with it.
So I
need
do
a
want to
safety
know
who's not afraid to run into people.
Yeah, I do want to know. For everybody that thinks this draft is like an all-time great draft, and it's fun to get carried away with that stuff, obviously. This is the best time to get carried away with the Browns every single year, as we know. Do you think this draft is so good that this takes them out of the running for being one of the worst teams in football next year? Because I don't. I do not.
I wish I could say yes, but with the quarterback play being a total mystery, you know, Shedeur could go. I got hope for Shedeur that he could handle the offense. I got virtually no hope for Deshaun Watson. I mean, you're sitting there trying to talk back about
it's winning the quarterback competition if you believe any of the national people.
Well, because he's the guy who's played at a high level before, and he's a guy who's seen offenses in the NFL and certainly has seen more defenses in the NFL. But that was 6 years ago. So the quarterback play is going to be a mystery. That's the only thing that's tampering any expectations for this season. Like I could feel myself on Saturday listening to the coverage on the way home and hearing about. I knew he would take a quarterback, and he did because he thinks quarterbacks are currency. And I do want to talk to Daryl about Taylon Green because I'm like,
I want to talk about it too.
Kind of excited about this.
Well, you know what I said about him. You know what you said on record.
Well, but his versatility. If I get a Taysom Hill type player, I want to see him all during preseason. I want to see him as much as I possibly can.
But not a quarterback.
I don't know if I'm going to. No, I do want to see him at quarterback in the preseason. I just don't know how much I'm going to be able to give him reps when technically we got 4 guys, but I don't think it's going to be 4 guys by the time we get to training camp.
But people want to see him steal reps from Shedeur?
No, stop.
No, I'm being dead serious. To me, I don't know why we're wasting any time talking about him as a quarterback. I mean, like, okay, we can gimmick it up, but he's not a quarterback. There's nothing about him that is a quarterback.
But if he can be a Taysom Hill type of player for you, if he doesn't pan out in camp, we'll just cut him. He's a 6th-round pick, okay? Hopefully you can stash him away on the P squad, honestly. But I'd love to see what he has to offer.
I think he could be fun in the red zone. Yeah,
I watch a lot of him at Arkansas.
But he's not projecting at all as a quarterback in this league.
As a starting? No. Yeah, that's why he was in the 6th round.
So why would we be talking about having him steal reps from any of the guys when we're mired in a quarterback competition to begin with?
Shedeur was the 4th quarterback, and he got a few reps last year.
Are we trying to go right back to last year?
No, but...
Are we splitting the football fields again?
Hold on. Why does everything have to be this...
Do we have to wreck 3 more houses to open up more practice fields to get quarterbacks? I don't know why that needs to get brought up.
Why does everything have to be an extreme? I can't just bring him in and see what he has during rookie camp and then see where that goes from there. I can't do that. I can't be curious at all of what a guy who's 6'6" is able to do and can move like a cat. I can't be curious about that.
I said it, I think, a month ago that I look at Terrell Pryor, who was not a starting quarterback in the NFL. They tried, a couple teams tried to give him a run at it. It didn't work. And then, converted halfway through his career. They put him at wide receiver. Boom, 1,000 yards. And I'm like, had he been doing that from day one, what could he have been? And Taylon Green, I'm not your agent. I'm not your coach. I look at the Terrell Pryor comp, and I'm like, this guy is a freak of nature. Let's see if we can convert this dude to one of the better weapons and one of the all-time steals in the NFL, because he is a freakazoid athletically.
1, the league was different when Terrell Pryor got into it. 2, I mean, you're talking about even wide receivers who make a lot of money and tight ends who make a lot of money. It's still not what quarterbacks make.
Yeah, but he's not a quarterback.
Well, damn it, he's going to try to be one. Because
that to me is the quickest way to shorten your NFL career to think you're a quarterback.
Okay, well, if you make I don't know. I've seen plenty of guys who I think right now we are as open. We should be as open-minded with quarterbacks as we ever have been. But I think you're really overthinking it. He's not going to take away reps from Deshaun and from Shedeur. I don't think you are. I
really?
think
you think this guy?
I think you want to say that they wasted the pick, and you just don't want to say it because you don't want to sound like an idiot because you think that they wasted a 6th-round pick.
This is the thing.
Because they didn't waste the pick. He's a quarterback who can do multiple things for you as long as you use him.
It's a complete wasted pick.
I'm the one who's wrong here.
It is a complete wasted pick if he is trying to be a quarterback. It could be an awesome steal of a pick if they could convert him to a great athlete who can be a great red zone weapon.
So what do you want to do with an athlete? What's the number one thing you want to do with an athlete?
What I look
What's
at,
the number one thing you want to do with an athlete, Anthony? What's the number one thing you want to do with him?
Get him the ball.
You want to get him the ball.
Yeah.
So obviously, as a quarterback, he's going to start with the ball in his hands.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
What are we running Wildcat with him exclusively?
Hey, by the way, what did Casey Concepcion play in high school? What did he play in high school? Answer the question, Owen. You know the answer.
It's probably quarterback.
He played quarterback.
Get him reps.
Because the most
Get
athletic.
him reps,
no,
Ken.
I mean,
because he's a
J.C.
wide
Treader
receiver.
played quarterback in high school, too.
Because the most athletic guy.
Because
the most athletic guy.
Get him reps.
Usually
Let him
plays
compete.
quarterback in high school.
So how many quarterbacks
and
do you want,
when
Ken?
you want athletes, you get the ball in their hands. So I'm not saying he should start week 1 for the Cleveland Browns.
Browns now have 10 quarterbacks in camp.
I got a 6'6" monster. Why on earth would I not kick the tires on whether or not this guy has, when we have one of the worst quarterback rooms in all the NFL? I'm all of a sudden going to be picky and choosy over a guy like Taylor Green in the 6th round? I'm not going to do that. That was a fine pick. I'm glad Andrew Berry made it.
As long as it's not a quarterback, it's a fine pick. This could be an awesome weapon.
All right. So we'll be picky and choosy over all the other ones when all you do is sit there and harp about how bad the quarterback room is. Then I guess they really should have shot their shot. Why are people making fun of the Rams? Why are people making fun of Sean McVay? I guess we should have overdone it and went after Ty Simpson and just been on with it. No, you didn't want to go after Ty Simpson. You didn't say a damn word the entire way up. So take your Taylor Green and try to make the best do with him and see whether or not we can use him in an offense.
The Ty Simpson thing might be the end of Sean McVay and Les Snead and
might be the end.
I'm serious.
Lord.
I'm serious. Those guys look like they want to kill each other.
216-474-0092. I mean, this is... How do you have it's one of the worst offenses we've ever seen in the last 2 years. You have zero inclination to have any imagination with this offense whatsoever.
I do have imagination. Using him as an all-time weapon is the imagination I'm talking about.
When you make
putting him as a potential quarterback down the road. Like, no.
I'm going to take the guy. He is draftable as a quarterback. See, this is what you don't understand. That's why I keep looking at him. I'm not the only one thinking this. He's draftable as a quarterback.
I'm not the only one who thought he should have converted.
I'm going to take him and turn him into a wide receiver, a tight end. I got to teach him how to run the route tree in 3 months?
No, I'm
in
saying,
3 months? I got to teach him how to do that?
You even said stash him on the practice squad. What's the 3 months thing?
Hopefully you can do that. But you're going to put him in the position that he's most comfortable coming out of the draft.
Well, then he'll be most comfortable getting cut and out of the NFL in 6 months.
Hopefully we'll put him on the P squad if he isn't able to make the 53-man roster. More than likely, he would not be a 53-man roster guy. But if he's able to, if we're able to take him and put him on the P squad, then he might be able to be some sort of a weapon down the line for you. Or maybe he is able to make the 53-man squad, and I can use him in a Taysom Hill. I can use him in a Taysom Hill form. But I don't believe.
What I'm saying.
We spent all this time bitching about. Okay, that's all I've been saying. Then why are you yelling about turning him into a tight end or wide receiver? Taysom Hill still was a quarterback. Taysom Hill still played the quarterback.
He was a guy who played quarterback
quarterback
when everybody was injured and they were trying to lose games.
Why did they pay him money? Why did they pay Taysom Hill money?
They thought of him as like a weapon, an all-time weapon.
And Sean Payton, your hero, used him as a weapon when he still had Drew Brees as quarterback. He didn't just say it was a waste of time. I mean, open up your freaking eyes for a second and try to have some semblance of what an offense could be.
I'm just trying to give this kid a career in the NFL. And like I said, the Terrell Pryor thing is a perfect example. And if he wants to make the most amount of money he can in the NFL, follow that pattern. Terrell Pryor was about 6 years late in doing what he should have done. Because this guy is a freak athlete, and they could absolutely get a steal at 6th round.
So I'm going to take him as a
ways.
freak athlete, and I'm immediately going to take him and try to turn him into something that he might not be too terribly comfortable with. Sounds like Jed Wills all over again, except he was a first-round pick.
It's a 6th round pick.
I'm not going to do this with a 6th-round guy.
That's who you do it with. But you don't do it with a first-round pick. You do it with a 6th-round pick.
That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make him comfortable because I know that if I get the ball in his hands, I can do a plethora of different things. I can teach him my offense, and if I get him out there, then I still have to make people worry about him. I still have to make people think about him. If he gets into a game and I get a defense that hasn't seen him before, then I have to put them in a position where they have to plan for it. Or I can put them into a game and make other defenses have to plan for the possibility and never have to do it. There's so many things I can do with a guy who's played quarterback at a high level, which Arkansas is a high level. Before that, Boise State, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. Yeah, I saw him at Arkansas. That's a clearly high level. There's so many things I can do for a guy that's played at that level. And I don't mind that they were open-minded to taking the guy, and he could come in. I think they'll get rid of Dylan Gabriel in some fashion, and then they'll make him the third-team quarterback quarterback of some sort. And we'll see whether or not he's got it. He might not. He's a 6th-round pick. So what? No big deal. As Andrew says, quarterbacks are currency. So maybe he's a big body that I could turn around and turn into another pick, maybe even a higher pick later on in life. But to just go, hey, he's a tight end, he's a wide receiver, that's it. He may eventually be a tight end or a wide receiver, but he's owed it to himself, and obviously he's draftable at quarterback to be a quarterback at first.
By the way, do you think the Browns are done? They're not trading for Anthony Richardson? They're not, because Richardson is still, somebody's going to trade for him. Do you think the Browns are Anthony Richardson?
I'm not.
Do you think the Browns are out? No, the Browns. Do you think they are?
I don't think they're out on anybody.
Oh, okay.
I think they're open-minded to everything. I'm not interested in Anthony Richardson, no.
No, I just want to know if the draft signaled anything to you about, like, we're done, this is the room. This is the quarterback room as is. Because I saw people insinuating that there still is a chance. Like Zach Jackson says there still is a chance.
I think those are people who are desperate to not have to cover Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson.
Whoa, okay.
I mean, it could end up being great. It could end up being a disaster. In the past, it's been an absolute disaster. So I'm not going to deny how they probably feel. And if they feel that I don't know if Zach feels that it's an upgrade. Maybe he's just reporting it, because I don't think Anthony Richardson is an upgrade over anything that we have in the room. Coming up next, Danny Cunningham going to join us on the show. We'll talk Cavs with him. Is he freaking out over a 2-2 series right now with the Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors? I am not. We'll see if Danny has to get me to get more alarmed. Coming up in 5 on The Fan.
Full hours, full shows. Find it all on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Daryl Ryder in just over an hour. Lima Likes coming up here in about 20-something minutes, and we are in a bizarro world where things are going really, really well for the Browns and not so great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's welcome in Danny Cunningham as things aren't so great for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost yesterday. Something about Sundays at 1 in this city that just don't go well no matter who's playing. And the Cavaliers lost to the Toronto Raptors yesterday in one of the most frustrating basketball games I think I've ever seen. And I'm still not freaking out. And I'm wondering whether or not I should freak out. Lima said I should freak out earlier today. So let's welcome on Danny. He's from Locked On Cavs, Inside Shot on Substack, Cleveland Magazine, 92.3 The Fan. He's on the Make It Right Call Kyle Right hotline. Danny, good morning to you. Should I be more angry than what I have been all morning about the Cavaliers' loss yesterday to the Toronto Raptors?
Probably, because any time that you have a playoff game wrapped up the way that the Cavs should have, with an 8-point lead with less than 5 minutes left to go, you find a way to lose that basketball game, I think it is something that is worth being concerned over. And, I still think that the Cavs are going to win this series, but now the series is going to take more time than it should have. Instead of being a 5-game series, it's going to at least be a 6, maybe even a 7-game series. And I also think that it is an example of the Cavs not growing the way that we anticipated that they had grown. This, to me, I realized that the specifics of this game were different than the specifics of Game 2 against the Indiana Pacers last year, but it felt a lot like that, where the Cavs were in control, they were in command, they did everything that they needed to do, even though they didn't play well. And, to be fair, the Toronto Raptors didn't play well either. I thought this was one of the ugliest basketball games I've watched. It felt like I felt like I was watching a Browns game yesterday, sitting there in the arena. But they had that game wrapped up, and they found a way to lose that game in a way that a team that is a championship caliber team, I'm not sure does. So, they'll probably still win this series, but I think that the way that happened was, to me, a pretty concerning outcome.
I need to answer the question of toughness. Do you think that this is a toughness issue?
I don't think it's a physical toughness thing. I didn't feel like they didn't meet I didn't feel like they weren't up to task physically yesterday. I do think you can question their mental toughness with what happened yesterday down the stretch of that game, where they couldn't get the ball across half court. That's on Donovan Mitchell. They did not grab a defensive rebound in the final 5 minutes of that game. That's on everybody.
I've never heard of that, by the way. Danny, I've never seen that before.
Neither have I. Sam Merrill scored all 5 points. The Cavs were outscored 17-5 in the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds of that game. They got, I guess we'll call it, one stop. There was that possession where Sam committed a flagrant foul. Colin Murray-Boyle split the free throws, and then the Raptors turned the basketball over. I guess you want to call that a stop. That was the only time that the Raptors didn't score at least 2 points on a possession, I believe it was. So, I don't think it was a physical toughness thing. I felt like they met the challenge physically, but mentally it kind of seemed like they wilted down the stretch. They needed to do one, maybe two more things well in the final 5 minutes of that game, and that game is wrapped up. If James Harden hits a wide-open 14-footer, the Cavs are up by 5 with a minute left. If Donovan Mitchell gets the ball across half court, maybe the Cavs score there, go up 3 or 4 with under a minute left. They needed to do one more thing to win that game, and they just couldn't find a way to do it. And I think it's probably a little unfair, again, to question their physical toughness, but I think the mental stuff is very much on the table.
Danny Cunningham with us. He was there. They didn't recover last year after, I know they had injuries, but they didn't recover last year after the Halliburton step back over Jared Allen. And, you're wondering about this series. The curious thing to me, and I've seen basically the entire internet and the national media, they are now putting Donovan Mitchell's playoff resume under the microscope. And I had to talk to a caller earlier who said no killer mentality. And then I read off all his 50 and 40-point games in the playoffs. And look, it's fair to say he's never gotten out of the second round, but he has absolutely dominated opening rounds of series before. What is this? How can you explain the last 2 games in Toronto?
You can't. I expected, a bad game is going to happen here or there. And that's why I didn't think that Game 3 was all that concerning. I thought the Cavs played poorly and, quite frankly, had a chance to win going into the fourth quarter of that game. And I thought that, okay, Donovan is probably going to come out on Sunday. He's probably going to have 35 to 40 points, and the Cavs are going to win because Donovan Mitchell is the best player in the series. And he had another stinker yesterday. And that, to me, was very surprising. And I don't understand. I mean, from a basketball standpoint, the Cavs are struggling with the Raptors top-locking him and James Harden, and they're making it really difficult for those two to get the basketball in advantageous situations. And when the Cavs finally do get those guys the ball in an advantageous situation, there's not a ton of time left on the shot clock. And just like the Raptors have done a really good job, and give them credit, they've done a really good job defensively to make life difficult for Donovan and for James. But those are two superstars. Those are two guys that I don't want to say should be above that, but they should have the answers to the problems that the Raptors are presenting them. And the fact that they haven't in these two games, and maybe it's just two bad games that happened back-to-back. And part of it is the Cavs didn't shoot the ball well, and it was guys other than Donovan Mitchell and James Harden that are part of that. Nobody other than Sam Merrill shot the ball well from beyond the arc yesterday. The Cavs are, and I realize that the Raptors were 4 of 30 and still won that game, but the Cavs record when they shoot below 33% from three-point range is abysmal, and that's what we saw yesterday. They were 10 of 40 from beyond the arc, so they do need to hit shots, and I think that is something that can relieve pressure, but they need Donovan Mitchell to be better. He was 2 of 12 on 2-point attempts yesterday. Oof. When Donovan's at his best, he's getting downhill, he's getting to the basket. That did not happen whatsoever in these two games here in Toronto. So, is the three-point shot going to come and go a little bit? Probably. But he needs to be able to get downhill. And the fact that he hasn't been able to do that in these two games, I think, is the concerning part.
Well, Danny, not only that, he's not elevating around the rim. We would see Donovan at his peak look like Dwayne Wade. With those explosive plays. We all know about the footwork and, that patented move he has where he takes the ball, over the shoulder and Euro steps his way into the lane. But the difference here is that I'm also noticing is that Toronto's not guarding 3 of our starters. They're not guarding Dean Wade, they're not guarding Evan Mobley, and they're not guarding Jared Allen. So a lot of the stuff they typically do to really tax teams with their pick and roll, Toronto's like, you can try and come into the lane. Good luck. How do they get over this? How do they beat this?
They need Evan Mobley to be a lot better than he was in Toronto. I thought that he had 2 excellent games to start this series. I know that his box score wasn't wildly impressive in game 1. I think he had 17 and 9, but he did it on 6 of 9 shooting, and he felt forceful. He felt like, okay, this is a guy that you could see almost taking his game to another level. And then game 2, he was outstanding. He had 25 and 8. He was, I think it was 11 of 13 from the floor. He looked in games 1 and 2 like a star player. And then we get to Toronto, and the Raptors actually moved Scotty Barnes off of him. And now Scotty's spending more time defending Donovan and/or James. And Evan Mobley has not been able to capitalize on the mismatches that the Toronto Raptors are just handing him. They're defending him with R.J. Barrett. They're defending him with Jakob Poeltl. They're defending him with guys that Evan Mobley should be able to torch. And Evan Mobley has had 2 horrible games, and that's a big part of the reason why the Cavs are in a series now as opposed to up 3-1 or even having swept, because Evan Mobley did not play well in any way, shape, or form in these games in Toronto. I didn't think he was good defensively either. The Cavs yesterday were better defensively when he was on the bench than when he was on the floor. And listen, he'll probably be better at home, but I think it's fair to be really disappointed in the way that he's played in these 2 games. And I think that they need him because the Raptors are saying, we are going to allow you a mismatch. We're going to allow you the ability to beat us. And Evan's not taking advantage of that. And that's part of the reason why this is a 2-2 series.
Danny Cunningham joining us right now on the hotline. So, I had texted you about something that I noticed. So we're always sitting here, pick your poison. Who's responsible? A lot of the internet thought Harden was for the 7 turnovers, even though they were up 8 despite those 7 turnovers. I really question the lack of using some timeouts strategically. They had 2 on the board and a use it or lose it before the 3-minute mark, and they didn't use it, and so they lost it. And they lost the game. I'm not saying that's the reason they lost the game, but I thought they had some bad possessions offensively, and then they couldn't get a defensive rebound. I thought they were gassed Was there anything to, you think, Kenny Atkinson just kind of sitting there allowing his guys to play through it? Do you think that was something he would do again?
I do think that there are some things Kenny would probably like to have back from the final 5 minutes of that game, certainly. And that might be one of them. You know, I didn't ask him about using the use it or lose it timeout. I don't know his exact thoughts on that. But when you blow an 8-point lead in the final 5 minutes as a coach, I'm sure he's spent a lot of the last however many hours it's been since that game ended. You know, I'm not doing math at 7:20 in the morning. But I'm sure he spent a lot of time thinking about what went wrong there and what he could have done differently. Like, if I had to guess, he probably would have liked to have called the timeout, seeing Donovan Mitchell struggle to get the ball across half court with 18 on their shot clock. Instead, he doesn't, and the Cavs get called for an 8-second violation because Donovan doesn't get it across half court. They had a timeout they could have used there in that situation with, I believe, 40 seconds left on the game clock. You know, we can have a conversation about the challenges that he used. I thought it was ridiculous that he had to use a challenge on a ball that was very clearly off of Scotty Barnes and the Raptors bench.
Danny,
the officiating crew into changing the call on the floor. Like, that to me, and like, I know that you don't want to have to burn a timeout in the first quarter the way they did, but Jalen Tyson was so clearly fouling that.
What did they think he shot putting the ball out of bounds, like 5 feet left of the rim? They think that magically happened. It was either blocked and it's our ball, or it's a foul. And the fact that they allowed that other one, you can't gloss over it, Danny. That was a big deal because the Cavs got their. They shouldn't have had. How did they not realize that? Wait, the call on the floor originally was this. How are we not allowing the Cavs to challenge anything else the rest of the game when they shouldn't have had to even challenge that one?
It is a ridiculous thing, and that is not the first time that has happened to the Cavs. Because think back to that game in Detroit they lost in overtime where Jared Allen fouled out on a call that was later ruled an incorrect call on the last 2-minute report, and the Cavs didn't have a challenge because they had to challenge 2 very clear incorrect calls in the final 4 minutes of that game before it got to that point. Like, I do think, and maybe this is the thing, and I don't know, like, they didn't show a ton of replays in the arena. I don't know exactly what the officials got right and wrong in the final few minutes of that game, but I'm sure Kenny Atkinson would have liked to have a challenge, but he kind of needed to challenge the 2 calls that he did challenge. And when you do that and you get them right and you don't have one at the end, it can hurt you. So I do think, like, it's a difficult thing as a coach to manage, okay, what is worth a challenge? What is a call that is clearly wrong that is worth overturning because you don't know what they're going to get wrong later? And the one that I think should be bothersome is that second one, where they got it right originally on the floor. The Raptors bench freaked out, so they overturned it, and then the Cavs challenged it, and the original call was right. And, like, losing a challenge over that is, I think, something that the Cavs should have a legitimate gripe over. Like, and I know that you're not this guy either because you texted me telling me that you're not this guy. But the officials really screwed up in that moment. And that is the one thing that I look at and say that was out of the Cavs' hands and that got screwed up. And, like, they should have a gripe there.
Danny, thank you for the time. All the best.
You got it, Ken. Good to talk to you.
Danny Cunningham, Locked On Cavs on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright
Does that mean I am that guy? If I'm texting him,
you're
then
absolutely
I'm not
that guy.
Well, we know you're not that guy because you texted us and told us.
Yeah.
You're that guy.
Don't put it in the paper that I'm mad.
You are that guy, and you are mad. Coming up at 8:20, Daryl Ryder going to join us on the show. And Lima likes Todd Monken did something every single one of us have done when we were younger. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Does Lima like?
Or does Lima no like?
Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot. No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
All right, Kenny, obviously an award-winning weekend for our Cleveland Browns.
I'm alive.
Boy, just about Everett. PFF said A+. The analytics dudes loved it. The football guys loved it, Kenny. You loved it.
Big fan.
I really, really liked it. I think overall, pretty solid given what they had. And then all that noise that they made during the draft, it spilled over the weekend.
I'm alive.
Because apparently there was even more noise over there at the Browns facility, according to the head coach.
Pump the music and get fired up being together. And the neighbors complained, and we didn't care. And we pumped up the music louder. If they don't like it, they can move. And so I didn't care.
They don't like it, they can move. Kenny, your thoughts on the local residents of Berea?
Usually practice is held between the reasonable hours of 8 and 5 p.m.
Safe harbor.
Where you can play music rather loud, and it's usually held in short bursts, the loud music. So I thought it was kind of funny that he's going back to those days and the music being loud, but there's not really a lot of houses that are close to him anymore. There's that one neighborhood that's condos, and then behind him there's houses, but a lot of it is turning into Browns property. So turn it up, turn it on, turn me loose.
Do you think the Browns have a hotline? Like, call this phone number and
What, for requests?
And I could see Todd Munkin answering the phone.
Oh, nice.
And say, hey, this is Coach
on the loudspeaker.
Todd Munkin.
On the loudspeaker.
DJ Munkin.
How
I
amazing
want to hear
that.
this song.
A huge Reddit thread about people debating whether or not they should have to move or they were there first. Like, I don't know. They've been there how long? How many years?
Been there a long time. I don't know how many people have been there as long as the Browns in that location.
I don't think they're going back to Lakeland anytime soon.
There was the yellow house on the corner, and that house got sold. So I don't know if there's anybody else that's been around anywhere near as long as the Browns have been in that area.
Meanwhile,
I'm alive.
How about the local kid, Drew Aller, hearing his name called over the weekend? What an amazing moment that had to be. However,
I'm no likes.
With the 76th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Drew Aller, Penn State quarterback.
audio courtesy of ESPN, and Drew, he was celebrating until he was asked to put the hat on for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Didn't want to wear the hat.
I still haven't seen footage of him actually putting the hat on.
Took a while to get that snapback going. I don't think he wanted to wear the hat.
All right, so how do we think about that? Ken Carman, your kid gets drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm happy that he's in the NFL.
Does he have the hat in the room? Is there a Steeler hat?
Well,
you
got to
put that on?
What do you do with the other hats? Because you got to have one of 32 hats right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or do they just give you a hat on your top 30 visit, like just in case? What do you do? I mean, I guess you can just buy 32 hats and give out the other 31 if you want to, but I don't really know how that goes. I mean, I don't think I'm going to have a draft pick in my family.
31 hats in 31 days.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
All right,
but
give me.
Look like you didn't really want to put it on.
Give me a percentage. I got to have this. Just Ken Carman, sports talk show host.
Okay.
Who we were all on. It was unfortunate how the Drew Aller situation. A coach gets fired, he gets injured at the end of the year. I mean,
if
we were talking about him.
Well against Notre Dame and they would have finished that game off, he'd be playing for the Cleveland Browns.
So that's what I want to ask you. What is the percentage that we will rue the day Drew Aller got drafted by the hated Pittsburgh Steelers?
15%. Right now, 15%.
Owen, do you have a percentage that we will? This will come back to haunt us for the rest of our lives. It's a Ben Roethlisberger moment.
Well, is he ahead of Will Howard on the depth chart right now?
I'm not sure, but I think this is Mike McCarthy maybe showing off here.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, give me my quarterback. Give me a guy I can build him. I can rebuild him, reprogram him, make him confident in himself again.
I'm alive.
Speaking of Penn State, Kenny went down the road and was wearing the Penn State gear.
Easier drive than I thought it would be.
How long did it take you?
About 3 hours.
Oh,
but
that's not bad.
It's weird. It's like
because he already starts 2 hours that way.
You have to go through a town, and then you get back on a highway, And it's so weird. It is so bizarre how they do roads over there. And you go through a town, then back on a highway, and then we're there. And I've only been there one time before, and it wasn't for a game. It was a walkthrough for my old team and my old life. And I forgot, it's just a giant erector set of a stadium. And they're actually redoing the one side, so you couldn't be on the one side, plus the weather was lousy. Started getting really cold and really rainy after a while there. Yeah. So it's like they called it right on time. We still got soaked. But it was a good time. It's such a large stadium, such a large campus, such a large program. The football facility was beautiful.
Yeah,
outstanding.
I saw the pictures with Coach Campbell.
The hospitality was outstanding. Matt was great. Skip was great.
Did you bring some gear back?
Met the GM in person. Axel got a couple of things, which was very, very nice by the team. It was fantastic. Yeah, he was very happy. Very happy. Very good trip.
Should Ryan Day be afraid of what Matt Campbell is building at Happy Valley?
And Ryan Day shouldn't be afraid of anything. Don't try to rope me into these answers. No, Ryan Day has won a national championship. He's got a machine down there at Ohio State. Let's worry about getting this thing back on track over there in Happy Valley before we go taking shots at Ryan Day over there at Ohio State. I ain't no dummy.
It was Friday night, and he's had a game since then, but we talk about LeBron James throwing up 29, 6 assists, 13 rebounds.
Unbelievable.
The clutch 3 against Houston at age, what is he, 41?
41.
Yes, that whole sequence where he pokes the ball away. And
Come on, dude. That was amazing. Now, he can't do that every game, clearly, because if you saw yesterday, he looked like he didn't belong.
Could LeBron have gotten the ball over the timeline?
I think he could have. And I think LeBron would have managed to get the basketball over the timeline. Not only that, he had an alley-oop with his son. I don't think we understand or can fully contextualize how surreal that moment is, that he got a chance to do that with his kid.
Outrageous.
For all the people that hate LeBron, can you just admit that was pretty special?
I'm going to take the reins here. Power rank the father-son moments this weekend. LeBron James, Bronny James, Ken Carman, and Axel Carman in Happy Valley, or Anthony Lima and Mason Lima at a marathon.
Has to be LeBron and Bronny.
It's close,
So
right?
2 NBA players for crying out loud. That's number one.
How many of them brought home giant $150?
$150 Publishers Clearinghouse check.
Can I do it? Can I rank it? LeBron, Lima and his son, because they watched their mom win a race. So you got to win
She
something.
didn't win. She finished 5th.
I thought she won.
She would have had
money.
a $5,000 check could she have won. She got beat by a bunch of 21, 23, 25.
I'm sorry.
Liz didn't line up at HVAC this week?
No. Yeah, all I did was go stand there just because we happen to all be from the same town. Like, I just got lucky. So, yeah, that's all there is to that.
All right, that's it for Lima Likes. Shout out Trevor Bauer threw a no-hitter against the Lancaster Stormers. His Long Island Ducks getting it done.
People keep asking me, Weiss Field. They asked yesterday.
Well, you know, Slade Ciccone calmed down after a while.
Yes, he did.
He did calm down because first I texted John some surly things. Oh, yeah, I'm way more worried about the other guy than this guy, huh? God, John's take aged like milk. It's terrible. Daryl Ryder, 8:22 this morning. We'll ask him how much better the Browns are than they were last week. And this is a bizarre world, friends. Things are going great for the Browns and so bad for the Steelers that I had to do a welfare check on a Pittsburgh radio show host. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on The Fan. Extend Technologies in Broadview Heights in your
Game 3, Friday night at Syracuse. Listen to the Fan Rewind, weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Get primed for the Cavs playoffs on your ride home. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Dangerous Daryl in 20 minutes, guys. We are living in a bizarre world. I'm here for as long as it possibly can last. I hope it lasts for the rest of my life because the weekend was great for the Browns. Most draft grades were in the A to B category for the Browns, which I will say I love it, and I'm going to take it as long as I can. There's one little thing I always said. They go, well, everybody loves the Jets draft every year. I mean, everybody thought Joe Douglas was the greatest ever and that things were going to be great. And it's like, yeah, we still got one position we got to figure out. And if we can figure out that position, I think the rest of this is going to really sing. But we had a good draft on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Steelers, they had not such a good draft. And it got to the point where Andrew Filipponi had said apparently last year, this came in my timeline on Friday night, last year that if the Steelers were to take Drew Aller, he'd quit his job, is what he said. And Saturday, they were doing a draft show, and he took a caller that had this to say, and things kind of got off the hinges.
Hey, so, yeah, I just wanted to say if Pony's not going to quit today, he should probably just have to admit on air that he's not a man of his word, right?
No, because you didn't read the tweet properly.
No, I sure did.
Okay, it said 250 days. Was Drew Aller picked 250?
No, I'm talking about the other one, and you know that. You know I'm talking about the one from February where you said this is the place that if the Steelers draft Drew Aller, I'll quit my job.
Yes, because I had said the other one. I also didn't specify what job.
Okay, what job are you quitting then?
I don't know. It didn't happen 250 days later.
After you're a liar, correct?
No, because it was not 250 days later.
Well, but that's not what the second post said.
Oh, so the second tweet negated the first tweet. I didn't know that you're the ombudsman or policeman when it comes to which tweets we take seriously, which ones we don't.
100% am.
You are.
Those are two unrelated thoughts.
Oh, I didn't know that you were Elon Musk here that was in charge of like community noting the tweets that I send out. Are you a billionaire that has rocket ships and cars that don't run on fuel?
I sure am. You know exactly what you did, and you're cowarding out like you always do.
Like I always do. I got my nipples pierced. What are you talking about?
They quit your job. They quit your job.
Why? Why do I have to answer to you in Lawrenceville?
If you have any integrity, any honor, any respect for your own self, you will quit your job.
And if you had any respect for yourself, you'd march your ass down here and say it to my face, you buffoon.
Okay.
651 Holiday Drive. Get in your car now. I'll be done at 2 o'clock.
All right. I'll see you outside.
See you there, buddy.
What building are you? Building 10?
Building 6. We could take a picture together. Okay. See ya.
What's the passcode to get in the building? All right, here it is. 1031 star.
I got that sent to me. And I know you haven't. Have you seen Slapshot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I called him up like I was Joe McGrath. Going, we're going to end up in the clinker. I call him up. I go, what the F are you doing?
It's amazing.
He had just got off the air. I'm driving back from Penn State. Axel's in the seat next to me. He answers the phone. Hello. I go, what the F are you doing? He goes, what? I go, you can't threaten people on the radio, you idiot. I started saying a lot of other things. I'm trying not to say exactly what I said. And he goes, oh, stop it. Stop being such. And I'm like, no. I go, you can't do that. I go, Andy Roth wouldn't stand for that. He goes, what about Keith? I go, Keith Britton wouldn't let me do that to callers. And I go, first off, I'm not like you. I'm not going to say such asinine things to put myself in that position.
Oh, he will, though.
The second thing is, I go, you don't do that. And he goes, oh, stop it. He like hangs up on me.
In this environment, too. And Kenny, you know the story. It happened once in Tremont.
Oh, yeah.
We were going very late.
You sent someone your address.
And I did send someone my address. They did not show. I always wonder, what would have happened if they did show? Like, what seriously would have happened? Like, this guy, if he actually
silly thing
followed
to say.
up. Now, I got to say, that guy didn't show up. So does that make him a coward now?
I don't think we should be calling people cowards, and we shouldn't be saying people to meet and things like that.
No,
I think it's a silly,
it's very juvenile,
irresponsible, and juvenile thing.
And we're living in a time where people tend to want to try to do things to people who are in the public eye.
So I says to him, I go, this. I'm yelling at him, and he goes, I go, where are you leaving now? He's like, I just got done with the FanDuel show. I'm leaving now. I says, Okay, well, you better call security or something. He says, and he hangs up on me. And I call the hotline. I call the hotline number. Donnie Football's on. I call their hotline number. Charlie, the one producer, answers. I go, Charlie. He goes, hello? And I'm like, this is Ken Carman at the Fan in Cleveland. I go, can you see Pony for where you're at? He goes, no. I go, you better find somebody to walk out there in the car. I go, someone's liable to kill him out there. He goes, well, I don't know. I go, do you see the things that people send to this guy? I go, you can't do it.
So now I have to.
He called me later on his way home. He was fine.
It's just going to take one incident, and then Keith is going to have to pay for security for all of our guys leaving the station.
What a
651 Holiday Drive. Get in your car now. I'll be done at 2:00.
We're not. By the way, we're not doxing him. That's Andrew Filipponi.
He yelled it,
giving out the address.
Anyway. I go, you're a true dumbass.
But so we're flying high here in Cleveland. That's what's happening in Pittsburgh with their draft.
Things are great, man. Things are great. I'm loving this draft. I'm loving what the Browns did.
By the way, someone brought up, they're like, Andrew Berry did a good job if you two knuckleheads are bitching about a 6th-round pick.
You're right. Andrew Berry did a good job if we're fighting about 6th-round picks.
Well done.
Did a good job. Because I enjoy this draft. Emmanuel McNeil Warren falling to 58.
That's amazing.
I couldn't help but fist pump, stand up, start swinging my arms around. I couldn't believe he fell.
He was mocked in the late first round, right?
Yeah. Well, because it was such a wild draft, and I'm just looking at what they got now. Austin Barber was a guy that I think I just want to see whether or not I did highlight him or not, because I don't want to take credit for something I didn't do. Austin Barber's a guy who when I was reading from Lance Zierlein said about him picking up ground very quickly. I did not highlight Austin Barber. One of the things that they brought up was knee bend, and they questioned the knee bend. And I said, well, he's 6'7", so a lot of guys are going to question knee bend. I thought it was interesting, though, they said that they could put him at guard, which I'm thinking, man, you're going to have a 6'7" guard. That's a big-ass offensive lineman there playing guard. If he's able to gain all that ground with his feet, he's got to have great footwork, and the guards need to have really good footwork to work in tight spaces. So
now I
could certainly get behind that. That was fine.
The only thing that could have made this draft better for the Browns in terms of the fans is if they would have taken the Jennings Dunker dude.
Which Pittsburgh took, and I was listening to us, and I ended up flipping over because I wanted to see what was going on with Pony. This is like right when it happened. And they
got my nipples pierced. What are you talking about?
They had John Ledyard on, who I brought up before. He's a draft guy. I had him on CBS Sports Radio,
good.
And he's on Pittsburgh Sports Radio all the time. He's a Steelers guy. He hated the Jennings Dunker pick.
Ooh,
hated it. He hated everything they did. The Max Yonicher, I think he was kind of okay. Jeremy Bernard, he didn't see. I actually liked Jeremy Bernard, but he thought Drew Aller in round 3 was a total stretch. He thought Jennings Dunker, he's like, man, what he said, he was like, he's okay in run game and one of the worst he's ever seen in pass. I'm going, this is an Iowa offensive lineman. So it did, I got to admit, like a guy who is fishing a barrel to a fan base. If the Browns had taken him, I mean, I would have been very excited because he's an exciting looking person.
He really is. Amazing.
If you can tell. But looking at the football, and this is one guy's opinion, who they had on their radio, I mean, they ripped him up and down.
Yeah.
For a city that was hosting the draft and has been successful in the NFL for a long time, and they were ripping those picks up and down over there.
They don't even have clarity on their quarterback situation. And how often does a first-round selection, every time a team takes anybody in the first round, they say, we targeted him all along. We always were in on this guy from day number 1. Can't believe he fell to us. It's amazing. We were going to trade up, and he fell to us. Teams say that all the time, and I don't believe them 98% of the time because you have all these other teams, and they have their draft boards and whatever. But in this case, we've caught it on camera.
Yes.
That was not the dude that they wanted. They wanted somebody else.
Yep. And I think they might have stumbled into a pretty good pick. I think that if they can work with them the right way, I think James Campen is their offensive line coach, but don't quote me on that. He's got his work cut out for him because there's a lot of athleticism here with Yonicher. But if they can make it work for him, he can be a really, really, really good offensive lineman for them. But the other picks, people were questioning, and rightfully so. With our picks, there's just a lot of why I love this and why I can't help but start to put 2 and 2 together. And I know that this is conspiracy theory type of stuff, but I'm going, man, this is just a lot of common sense here. Okay, you wanted to build classic. There's no more Carnell Tate there. You take Spencer Fano. He was a left tackle. I know 3 years ago, a lot of people started getting in yesterday on Friday going, left tackle. He's a left tackle when he was a freshman. He ended up getting switched over to right tackle because Lamu wasn't going to be a right tackle for him. He had to play left tackle. You put Fano over there. He was a good offensive lineman for you for a long time. There's only a couple of times where he struggled at all. I think he's going to raise the floor on that. He's going to be an anchor for you for a nice long period of time. And he's going to have the work ethic where if anybody ever says Jed Wills after this last weekend, after this period of time, and making a comparison, you just need to laugh in their face because it's going to be completely different from Jed Wills. To take Casey Concepcion, yes, obviously we're betting on an upside there. We're betting on a really good athlete, a guy who could do things in your special teams, but also a guy who, if you can get him the ball quickly, I think he can make some things happen in space. It's just one of the things that you bring up about the drops if he's running before he actually catches the ball every now and then. Denzel Boston's a big body guy. I like him, but for Emmanuel McNeil Warren to fall there at 58, it's just so much common sense. Like, here's a good football player. Let's get up there and let's take him. Okay? He's going to be there at 58. Let's go ahead. Let's take him. And that's what they did. And they made. It's common sense to me. You didn't need to start to jump through hoops to explain their draft. And before I've had to jump through hoops to try to get what page that they were on, I'd never had to do that. And Browns fans didn't have to either. And these are two naturally good back-to-back drafts that fans can get excited about.
So they obviously, we're going to debate, did they address the offensive line this offseason or did they fix the offensive line this season? And we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out probably against the Buffalo Bills in that joint practice. Who's starting at center? That's the question I have. Do you think they are moving over? Is Jenkins going to be there, or do you think it's Whippler?
Well, they might put you're talking about the guard. If Joel isn't able to go, then they might put Jenkins there at guard and make Whippler their center. Because I know they really like Luke Whippler. 216-474-0092, but some things got to get shaken out because of that. Daryl Ryder going to join us coming up in 5 minutes. Want to ask him what his grades were for the draft, what to do with Taylon Green. You know it's a good draft. Somebody mentioned it, just like Lima said. Somebody mentioned it. If we're fighting over Taylon Green in the 6th round, it had to have been a pretty good draft. So we'll get to that. And you got to play a Cavs blame game, even though I'm not freaking out. And I'll tell you why coming up here in 40 minutes on The Fan.
Syracuse on Friday. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Ladies and gentlemen, back-to-back drafts. Hopefully it stays this way when the season starts. Back-to-back draft, back-to-back common sense football guide drafts with this football team. Daryl Ryder here to talk about it all. He's brought to you by
Shive and Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Daryl, how you feeling, man?
Good morning, guys. Feeling pretty good about what Andrew Berry did. Thought he had a pretty good weekend.
Hell yeah. Thought he did as well. What now, of the day 2 and day 3 picks, what was your favorite pick?
Day 2 and day 3. Well, day 2 would be Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
Okay.
I'm like Andrew Berry. I can't believe he was still on the board. Almost reminds me a little bit of a couple years ago when they drafted Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and Andrew came out in the second round. Andrew came out and said, we had a first-round grade on him. We didn't think he was going to be available to us, and we got lucky. So I kind of feel the same way about Emmanuel. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite day 2 or day 3 pick.
Yeah, overall, Daryl, I was really good with it. I do hear this every April that we've had the best drafts ever, and PFF always seems to like the Andrew Berry drafts. They seem to be very aligned. Maybe you could consider PFF a thought partner, if you will. But overall,
well, someone's got to replace Paul DePodesta in the building, right?
Yeah. I mean, so about that? Everybody was connecting the dots that, hey, they knocked it out of the park last year. This year, before we ever even see these guys in Cleveland, they knocked it out of the park, according to most, that it had to do with DePodesta not being there. I said, maybe it has more to do with the fact they had first-round picks again. It's nice to have those.
Yeah, well, first and second-round picks, because people forget that.
Yeah, good call.
For a couple of years, they didn't have a second-round pick either because, Berry was wheeling and dealing there. So, I think you're seeing the byproduct of having first and second-round picks. That's part of it. I really don't think that Paul DePodesta was picking players behind the scenes, even though it's still a mystery to this day, just exactly what he did for the Browns. I do know he had his fingers in a lot of areas, both with football operations as well as with the Haslam Sports Group on the business side of things. But when you're talking about just the draft process and whatnot, they have the assets, and so when you look at previous drafts for Andrew Berry, he's picking 3rd through 7th round. Yes, he missed a lot of players 3rd through 7th round. But I got news for you. Every team misses players 3rd through 7th round. So now that he's had a couple of drafts where he's got some first-round picks, he's got some second-round picks, and you're looking at what he's able to use them on, and right now, on paper, it looks great. They got 4 guys with first-round grades in the first 2 rounds of the draft. That's outstanding. And last year, Harold Fannin Jr. was a 3rd-round pick, right? He's starting to get some players later in the draft hit as well. So even if 3 of the first 4 of their picks hit and they get maybe 1 or 2 of their day 3 picks to hit, it's a home run draft for the Browns. So, Berry wanted to draft in volume this weekend, and he certainly did that as well.
Daryl Ryder joining us on the show. What would you do with Taylor Green?
Well, I would absolutely treat him like a prospect project. You give him some practice reps. I don't think you give him any first-team reps. I would not do that, but he's a project, and that's okay. Good NFL organizations have quarterback projects. New England Patriots did it for years. When they had Tom Brady, they draft quarterbacks and develop them and then spin them off for assets. Well, obviously right now the Browns aren't in a position to be able to spin a quarterback off for assets, but I would use him simply as a prospect. He's got the physical tools. He's got the size and arm strength and all that.
But there are just a lot of things with his game that need to be polished and cleaned up that, Andrew Berry talked about that. Todd Monken talked about that. So get him on the field, see what he can do. And take the next couple of years to develop him and see if you have something.
So you would put him at quarterback though within okay, because we had a knockdown drag out earlier today, which is maybe good for the draft that we're having knockdown drag outs over 6th-round picks for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Lima and I went after each other.
Yeah, I mean it's a 6th-round pick too. Let's not forget that. It's kind of what I said last year with Shedeur Sanders being a 5th-round pick. If Shedeur works out, you hit the jackpot. If he doesn't work out, it's not a bust. It's not a failure. You took a shot. It didn't work. So. Now, Todd Monken seemed to be open to the idea of maybe doing a package of plays for Taylor Green to get him on the field and maybe take advantage of his abilities, running the ball with it in his hands or whatnot. But I think that's something that they just have to kind of, figure out or work through. What you don't want to do is, when you do the gimmick thing, and you put him on the field, you're all of a sudden telegraphing everything that you're doing because, teams figure out when he's on the field, something's up. So there is a delicate balance there.
Does Taylor Green mean the days are numbered for Dylan Gabriel? Or is that just happenstance anyway that the days are numbered for Dylan Gabriel?
Well, I think the days are numbered for Dylan Gabriel anyway, number one. Number two, they needed to add a 4th quarterback. They were going to add a 4th quarterback, whether it was over the weekend or through undrafted free agency. So, Andrew Berry left the door open to bring in another quarterback, a veteran quarterback, I should say. That's not going to materialize now. Berry said over the weekend, this now will be the quarterback room going forward, borrowing any developments, and obviously the development you, me, and everyone else is thinking could occur, and that is the departure of Dylan Gabriel via trade. I don't know what you get for Dylan. You probably wouldn't get much. But having 4 quarterbacks is something the Browns and a lot of teams do. Berry said he wants to have 3 quarterbacks on the active roster and 1 quarterback on the practice squad. I was having some debates over the weekend with folks about whether or not Taylor Green would make it to a practice squad. Would teams pick him up off the waiver wire on cut down day? So, they're going to have 4 quarterbacks. They needed a 4th quarterback. They used the first pick in the 6th round to find theirs. Dale Ryder joining us right now. How different of a draft is this for the Browns if Carnell Tate was available at number 6? I don't know if it would be that different. I mean, they passed Caleb Downs, so and I had said that if Caleb Downs was available, I would run the card up to the podium myself. And so I don't know that it would be all that different, Anthony.
Well, the reason I asked that, obviously, is they then went with 2 wide receivers later on, which they obviously would not have done had they have had Tate. And then, what are you doing at offensive line?
Right. If they would have taken Tate, right, then they don't get any. They don't get their top linemen. They don't get any of the top linemen in this draft class at 24. It just wasn't going to happen. So, strange as it may seem to hear from me, I really think Andrew Berry played his cards right, trading down 3 spots, picking up a couple assets. You still get the lineman that you say you wanted in Spencer Fano, and you ended up with Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston back to back. So you still get 2 what I believe to be really good receivers to add to that receiving room.
Well, the reason I really asked the question is I was surprised they did not trade up like the Eagles did when they went and got Lemon. And that was obviously a big move. And look, it just depends on who you believe or your own film watching or any of that stuff. I don't ever pretend to be a guru on that. But I wonder, do you think there's a realistic shot that either of those wide receivers could be a certifiable number 1?
Yeah, I do. But you gotta see this thing on the field, right? And I hear the argument. Nick and I talked about on the show yesterday about having potentially three number 2s on your team with Concepcion, Boston, and obviously Jerry Jeudy. Barry said over the weekend that Jeudy is their bell cow.
Boy.
I know.
I found that comment to be very interesting. And also, too, that might be just GM speak, right? Also, keep in mind, Barry traded for Judy and also gave him a contract extension. So certainly you don't want to say, hey, yeah, by the way, Concepcion or Boston's replacing Jerry Judy. So I kind of understand where Barry might be coming from on that.
I've never seen a bell cow wide receiver making what he's making, being your number one, and having 50 catches.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
2 touchdowns. That's unheard of.
And also having the poor attitude that he had last year. Now, he's spending time with Shedeur and the other quarterbacks this offseason, so that's good. Maybe he's gotten out of his system whatever he was working through, dealing with last year.
Jerry Judy getting that out of the system, huh? You think that's going to happen?
Listen, I don't know. I'm trying to be fair about the situation. Jerry indicated at some point that there was something going on off the field that he didn't want to talk about. Hopefully it was nothing significant or whatnot. Hopefully it was just he had a bad year and was in a bad mood every day.
Just heard a lot of that in his previous stop.
I understand that, and I've been very, very critical of the fact that the Browns put a contract in front of a guy who had that reputation, and in year 2 here, we got to see exactly why the Denver Broncos couldn't get him out of the building fast enough. So hopefully whatever was going on last year, hopefully that's behind him. Hopefully the additions that Andrew Berry has made this offseason will elevate this offense and put everybody in a better mood, including the fans.
A lot of wide receivers, or I should say a lot of weapons, a lot of offensive linemen. Was this draft an endorsement of Shedeur Sanders, or are we just getting ready for whoever gets the job and whoever might have to get the job in the future as well?
I think part of it is they're giving Shedeur Sanders weapons and an opportunity to be successful because of all the talk last year, as you remember, Ken. Everyone was saying how the Browns were sabotaging Shedeur Sanders and doing everything they could do to make him fail. Well, a lot's been invested in this draft class on that side of the ball. So that gives, I think, Shedeur Sanders a true opportunity to succeed or fail on his own merits. And if it doesn't work out, then they can look ahead to 2027 and doing what they need to do to position themselves to get one of those top quarterbacks that everyone's expecting to be available.
Daryl Ryder joining us here on the show. Tone.
Yeah, Daryl, the Cavaliers lost yesterday. I saw your tweet at the end of the game. Now, let the record show, this show in particular had the Cavs winning in 5.
I had them in 5, too. And I was called a coward for it.
Yeah, so this is going a lot
I'm getting a hamburger out of it. So.
Who's calling you a coward?
Well, this seems very so. You love those burger bets with the afternoon boys.
I do, because I usually win them.
Ooh. In this case, man, it's looking a lot like that Orlando Magic series where you won the first 2, then lost the next 2 on the road. Now, they won that series, and Donovan had some spectacular moments in that series. Will we get spectacular Donovan Mitchell on Wednesday? How confident are you of that after 2 duds in Toronto?
After watching what I watched yesterday, I'm not confident of anything. I mean, that was the ultimate game they needed to steal. Toronto couldn't throw it into the ocean standing on the beach, and neither could the Cavs. That was just some of the ugliest basketball you'll ever watch. And the fact that the Cavaliers let that slip away and they played as sloppily as they did was extremely disappointed. They did not look like a team that was focused and zeroed in on the business at hand. And that's what frustrates me about that team is they have the talent. They've had the talent. Talent doesn't always win. I understand that. But like every year we hear about how they're motivated from the failure of the previous year. I don't know. These last 2 games, did they look like a team that's motivated by this stigma of being Charmin soft, marshmallow soft, and exiting early in the playoffs every year? Not to me. The serious teams are getting it done. Look at Oklahoma City and what they're doing. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but look what the Lakers are doing. So this has been a disappointing development, what we saw the last 2 games in Toronto. Obviously, the Cavs can still win the series, but my confidence is a little shaken. I can't lie.
Daryl, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You beefing with certain Pittsburgh radio hosts this weekend, Daryl?
Oh, yeah. Daryl, you were beefing.
Yeah, I had to stuff Pony in a locker because he came after me, and I was trying to have a little fun with him, and so, yeah, I had to clap back.
They're
Not
in no
proud of
mood
it,
for
but
fun.
I did it.
Daryl, they're in no mood for fun over there in Pittsburgh.
Daryl, be proud of it. It's okay. You don't have to not be proud of it. Be proud of it.
651 Holiday Drive. Get in your car now. I'll be done at 2 o'clock.
Daryl, thank you.
You know what? I'll say this. I never had to pierce my nipples because I lost a bet.
No.
Well, I got my nipples pierced. What are you talking about?
Daryl wins them all. He just smashes hamburgers every time. He just wins a lot of food he gets to eat. Daryl, thank you. I'll talk to you Friday.
You bet, guys. Look forward to it.
The tremendous Daryl Ryder. Who's Daryl brought to you by, everybody?
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Time to play the Cavalier blame game in 5 minutes on the Fan.
1023 The Fan has the most local sports talk in town, and you can be a part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 923 The Fan and see our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Browns draft was great. Guardians lost, Cavs lost, Browns were great over the weekend. Savor it while you can,
They won
brother.
the weekend, baby. The Browns won a weekend.
Savor it over there. All right, who do you blame for the Cavs loss? Almost said for the Browns loss. Sorry, I'm so used to saying it on a Monday morning. Who do you blame for the Cavs loss?
So it's so funny.
216-474-0092. Let's go.
As this was mounting during the game, and Harden had all those turnovers in the first half, which was a follow-up to the first game in Toronto when he had, 10 turnovers? It was crazy. When he had a terrible game there. I thought he played way better, honestly, in the third quarter. I thought Harden kept him in it. So I did not. I saw some other Cavaliers, influential people. They were leading with the turnover story for Harden. I'm like, they were up 8 with the 7 turnovers. So, no, I don't think Harden was the reason they lost that game at all. And I said he was the one that was unafraid. I wish other guys had the mentality.
You got to finish that game.
That James did. He did biff that mid-range. I don't know why he didn't go glass. That was bad.
You got to finish that game.
But he had a 3 that went in and out, too, in the final 4 minutes. Donovan, I got to put it on Donovan. I've heard others go after Mobley.
Kind of want to go after Mobley.
We'll get to that in a second. I'll just say...
I'm not sure exactly who I want to pick just yet. I'm getting it. I'm agitated.
I'm curious to see where the callers are on this, because that's how devastating a game it was, that it ran the gamut of people to blame. And I threw out some Atkinson stuff too. But you just need Donovan in all the stuff. And my bickering with Nick, and I cannot wait to hear Nick today too. I cannot. That's a free promo for the afternoon show. I cannot wait to hear Nick.
Well, yeah, considering you tried to sidestep it a little bit earlier this morning.
Well, here's the deal. In all my calculations about how this was going to go in the playoffs and why I was so optimistic, it was because Donovan Mitchell had been so good in these types of series.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the last 2 games, forget top 10 player. Forget all NBA second team guy. Forget all-star. He's been a bad basketball player. He hasn't done anything on defense either. And normally we're okay with some of that because he exerts so much energy on offense. But when you're this bad on offense and you are not getting to your spots, you're not showing that supreme athleticism around the rim, and you're taking bad threes, and you're lackadaisical getting the ball across half court, and you're not playing any defense, you're a zilch. And for all the money he's made, he's a guy that they're going to turn around, or somebody is, and pay $70 million a year in his next contract. Is that worth $70 million? So to me, it's Donovan. He was the main issue. But I'll entertain some Evan Mobley stuff.
Well, they came in 2-0 into Toronto, and they left Toronto 2-2, and even Evan Mobley doesn't know why.
I think we were in a good position at the end, and we made some mistakes, and that got us in a bad position.
They were in a good position. Then they got in a bad position.
Oh, now you're making me depressed.
I see you stirring over there. Here, let me help you out.
We just got to do a better job of getting to our space and getting shots up and not turning the ball over in the final minutes. We got to value the ball more.
Maybe this is just who he is.
Mobley had 2 baskets to start the third quarter, went right at Pirtle, and that was that at 8 points for the game. 0 for 3 from 3. Cannot space the floor. They're not guarding him. They're letting him have any wide open shot, and he doesn't want it.
We got Game 5 coming up.
Just got to move on to the next and do what you did in the first 2 games. Get a win at home and one more here.
Let's go.
Got in silly foul trouble.
I'm still not going to freak out, and I'm not going to get loud. I'm not going to get vulgar. Now, maybe Thursday morning I might get vulgar. I'm not getting loud and vulgar now. But damn it, I can't want it more than you. I've been wanting to call him the unicorn. I want him to work out. What do you mean by work out? I want him to be a 1%. I want him to be a 1% guy. And for a moment, I thought at the beginning of the series there was a point where maybe things would click into place. And then Friday was Friday, but yesterday, I should say Thursday was Thursday. We talked about it Friday. I'm sorry. Yesterday, man, you're up by 8 with 3.5 minutes to go, man. You got to put this game away. I don't care. I don't give an F how sloppy it is. You got to figure you're the better team. You should be a better version of sloppy than that team. That's why I'm getting a little agitated. I'm going to keep myself calm. It's only a 2-2 series. I'm not going to say a bunch of stuff I have to regret coming up on Thursday morning. But I think that everything I'm about to say, or everything that I have said, is common sense to everybody here. You hear what they're saying. You hear what they've said about you for years now. Everybody wants to call you soft. Well, in the Indiana series, it might not be true, but they're going to say it, and you have to get rid of that label. And part of the reason they call you soft is because of your front court. So somebody's got to fix it, and it ain't going to be me. I can't fix it. I can't fix it for you. I can't fix it as a sports talk guy or as a fan for you, because I think a lot of fans, it's one thing to not be a great team, or it's one thing to be a team that's on the cusp. It's a totally different amount of disrespect. It's a totally different amount of depression for the fan base when you get called soft, when your favorite team is soft. You could be from the softest place in America. Like when you think, when people think about the Midwest and like Midwest Rust Belt towns, you think tough because that's what you had to hang your hat on. No town wants to be called soft. No fan base wants to think that their team's soft. Think of the softest place you can. If we were in Cabo, vacation destinations, right? Nobody in Cabo wants their team to be soft. Nobody in Miami, Florida wants their team to be soft. Everybody wants hard asses and crazy people. And it's like the worst possible thing you can call a team. And that's what I'm getting right now. It's like that's got to change. That's got to change, because I'm in a different place with them right now, and I'll explain why coming up at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Where the reason why I'm really calm, the exact reason why I'm calm about this, because I'll tell you at 9 why I could take it or leave it right now, right as I see it right now, Tone.
I'm looking at the Ringer top 100, Evan Mobley going into the playoffs 22nd. Meanwhile, the guy that owns the Ringer, Bill Simmons, had this to say on his podcast.
I had the same question marks next to Mobley. He had 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. And you just forget he's out there for stretches. I'm starting to wonder if this is just who he is. We kept factoring in this bump and the ceiling for him and all the potential of what he could be. And, oh, wait, maybe he's really a 5. Maybe he shouldn't play next to Allen. Well, what happens if he starts making threes? That's going to change him. What we don't see from him is the guys, get out of my ways. I'm just going to wreak havoc here for an hour, right? We need this game. We're up 2-1. Nobody can get anything going. I'm kicking it in a 5th gear, and I'm going to destroy everybody for about a half hour here. And he just doesn't do it ever.
I just said, is this who he is? So I'd love to fight him on that.
Here was the little blurb. Cheat code defender, harnessing the breadth of his supreme athletic gifts on offense. What player is that?
I think we're in a good position at the end, and we made some mistakes, and that got us in a bad position.
Is that Pat Shurmur?
You can't run away from what you said, though. People want to give you the gears over it. They should. I'm glad.
I stuck my neck out for him. They should.
6 o'clock hour, you didn't really want to go at. You really wanted to kind of run and hide from your comments earlier.
I was here. I said it. No, I said what
That's
I said.
That's not what I heard. I didn't hear it that way. Did you hear it that way?
Wait a second.
I heard a guy who was ready to become a slippery wizard this morning.
No.
Yeah.
I deserve all of it. I called the entire town. The people were telling me not to be excited about the playoffs. By the way, I am excited about the playoffs. I watched all 14 games over the last 3 days. So you can't tell me that I'm so defeated that I wasn't interested. I've been dialed into the playoffs. I love this time of year. And honestly, my heart was thumping out of my chest for the final 4 minutes. That's as ugly a game as you can imagine, but I was invested.
It will not be a rah-rah speech for anybody, okay? But I will tell you in 5 minutes why this is no time to panic. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and are the Browns that much better than they were last week? Did the record change in your head? That coming up at 9:22 on The Fan. Tom Merritt.
to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
Did the Browns record change? That's at 9:22 this morning after a great draft that they had over the weekend, which it was a nice thing, and Owen reminded me of this. Logan Fano got picked up by the Browns with the undrafted free agent, so he'll be coming into camp. That is the brother of Spencer Fano. He plays defense, though.
Older brother, yeah.
Yes, older brother. Did I say younger? I didn't say younger.
You just said brother.
Older brother of Spencer. He is now going to be joining the Browns for rookie minicamp. Hopefully, we'll bring him back to training camp. We'll see where it goes.
Schefter just tweeted out their celebrations and jumping in the pool, and I was like, huh, a nice setup over there. Meanwhile, 923 The Fan looking for a winner. Enter the code word TOUR, T-O-U-R, at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the R&B Tour starring Usher, Raymond, and Chris Brown July 7th at Huntington Bank Field. Maybe you will see my wife and I there. Me and my wife, I should say. Maybe you'll see us there. Tickets on sale today at noon at Ticketmaster.com.
Spending that marathon earnings already.
Well, that is spent and then some. It's all from Live Nation and Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Can you endorse a giant check? Can you endorse the 3x5?
You just walk up to the box office and go, 2 tickets for Chris Brown and Usher, please.
You just bring in the whole thing.
And then they'll say, where's the other $1,000?
All right, who are we blaming for the Cavs' loss last night? And this is no time to panic. And let me tell you, this isn't going to be some rah-rah thing. I told you I'd tell you this. I'm going to tell you this right now before we get to the phones. I want to know who you guys are blaming. 216-474-0092. And I'm going to tell you right now why it's no time to panic. And the reason is simple, guys. They are who they are. If they go and they lose on Wednesday and they happen to end up losing the series, I don't think they're going to lose the series. You're 9-point favorites coming up on Wednesday, for crying out loud. That helps. I will tell you that helps. But I came to this thought last night while I was, as I told Lima, didn't plan on boozing, didn't feel good yesterday morning. I don't know if it was something I ate on the way home or whatever it was on Saturday. Both me and the Axeman didn't feel great. And then they lost to the Cavs. I felt even worse. And I went, well, no time like the present. Let's go get into the Canadian club. And as I was sitting there having another pool, contemplating what was going on and thinking, gosh, what... I'm not mad. How am I not mad? And I go, it hit me. They are who they are, and if this doesn't work out, they're going to trade them. And if they do trade people, if this doesn't work out, if they lose this series and they do trade people, you ain't going to be mad. You ain't going to be defensive. You will be mad when they lose because we're Cavs fans. Of course I'll be mad that they lost. I'll be mad that I agreed with the guy to my right about what this team was doing and that I look like a fool. You're the one who has to answer for it. I think I feel foolish just because I think I will feel foolish just because of being close to you and agreeing with you. But you're the one who's got to back up what you said. I mean, good God, you went right after Nick over it. But for all of this, one, I don't think they're going to lose this series to the Toronto Raptors. I don't think it's going to happen. All right? I know we kind of wanted to play the Atlanta Hawks. It seemed like a better matchup. Toronto can be tough. But I don't think they're going to lose this matchup to the Toronto Raptors. And if they do, there's no point in me being completely crestfallen by losing this series. It's going, okay, they're going to make changes. Donovan's going to want out, and we're going to be on our way back to 19-win land. And it ain't going to bother a damn one of you because you're going to go, we spent all this money on the most expensive roster in the NBA. We have all this on the biggest roster in the NBA, and they ain't done nothing with it, so what the hell's the point? And because of that, I got to tell you, if I'm blaming somebody, if we're playing blame game, I got to blame Evan, regrettably. Because there's only so much that Donovan Mitchell can do, and there's only so much that James Harden can do. At the end of every game, they're both guards. And when we have these games where it's like, man, did he get it? Is he finally going to be that guy that they drafted him to be? Where he looked so much better earlier in the series against Scotty Barnes. He looked like Scotty Barnes wasn't even the same category as him, and that there was ever a comparison between the two was one of the most laughable things ever. You go from that to yesterday, and sometimes the meekness that comes with it, that part is disheartening. But if they end up losing the series, hey, you know what? It's on them. It's on them. It ain't on you guys. I'll have fun blaming you, but you didn't play the basketball for them. it's going to be upsetting, but it's not going to be the most depressing thing in the world.
Well, isn't it amazing
we'll
how
just know
different
that they're not them.
So obviously, we've heard and rightfully so, all the criticism. They're up 8 with 4 minutes to go, right? On the road and getting ready to go up 3-1. And I looked today, NBA championship odds. I've been posting these throughout. I'm going to have to throw it up again.
Yep.
Do you know how many teams are ahead of the Cavaliers?
3.
There's still only 3 teams.
I thought.
They still have the 4th best championship odds. And again, part of my premise for them making a deep run, and this is to everybody, not just the afternoon show. What I've been saying all along, part of the premise was, have you seen the rest of the Eastern Conference? Have you seen the Knicks?
Yeah.
Have you seen...
That still doesn't inspire a lot of confidence with the fans out there.
Well, all I was saying was...
Just saying that other teams are bad, too, does not inspire confidence.
Look, a big part of it was, I don't think some of our audience, I don't think they were watching. I don't think some of the other hosts at the station, I don't think they were watching the other teams. They only talk about this team. And so when they would say, this team had these inadequacies, I'm like, yeah, but so do these other teams that I watch every day.
I watched the Knicks and Pistons and Celtics. Yeah. Pistons even lower than the other two, but I watched the Knicks and Celtics, but I'm not going to sit there and act like I watched Raptors basketball all throughout this year. I did not. So if you want to call me out on it, fine. Go right on ahead.
That's fine. But I'm not asking people to have to watch the other teams. I just wanted to express that part of the reason I thought they could make a run is because I didn't have any faith in Detroit. I didn't have any faith in the Knicks. And this Celtics team is way worse than the Celtics teams in previous years. Now it's up to the Cavs to hold up their end of the bargain because they should be able to get by the Raptors. And you got 3 games, 2 of which are at home if you're able to get to that 3rd game. Hopefully you don't even need to. Hopefully you just win the next 2. But they still have it in them to win this series. They're still big favorites to win the series. I had Cleve TA mentioning that to us. Hey, you guys know they are still massive favorites in this series.
Anthony, can I ask you as a not ball knower, is it better or worse that the Raptors were so horrible at basketball yesterday? Because they were not good.
It was bad.
And then you lost to them.
It's bad. I mean, their best three-point shooter went 0 for 8. So is that going to happen again?
How do you lose that game? Who's the better team? Who's the better team?
I think the Cavs are the better team.
The Cavs are the better team, so when they're both playing sloppy,
the better. The less worse team at this point.
Well, if they're both, but if one team's better and they're both sloppy, then the better team should win the game. So the Cavs should have won the game.
Look, I thought the Cavs were a better team than the Pacers last year. I was proven wrong.
When you're up by 8 with just under 4 left to go, I'm sorry, you should be able to close that out. Just like I thought they should have been able to close it out in the first half. I did. I go, man, we're going to stay above double digits here. We'll get it figured out at halftime. I go, this is a 3-1 series. This is the way it ought to go. And to sit there and to have to be shocked at the end of that, and then at the end of the game to be even more shocked, obviously, because they lost, it was upsetting. It was a frustrating day yesterday. But I had to come to a realization while the world seemed to be coming in. One, you're still the better basketball team. You are favored by so much more in game 5. But there's also, if they're not able to get it done, we just know who they are and that this ain't going to work and that people need to go. And that we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and start this whole thing up over again. And when it comes to competitive basketball, see you in 4 years. That's how this is going to be. Sorry to slam my hand on the table. But when it comes to competitive basketball, I'll just see you in 2030. And we're just going to have to do this. So it is, I want this thing to get to the Eastern Conference Finals because, one, I want to be right and I want the Cavs to do well. And the other thing is I want to put off having to tear this thing down. But if they end up losing to the Toronto Raptors, I don't have to sit there and scare everybody. There's nothing to be afraid of. They'll just break the team up. Donovan will want out, and you'll say, fine, bye. You hold on to. Fine player, fine guy. Bye. What can we get back? James Harden will want out. Good, bye. Evan Mobley, he may want out. There might be some people who want to drive him to the airport by the end of all this. Like, that's what it is. And that's not being overblown or crazy. You guys know what this is. So what's the point of me losing my mind this morning and screaming and yelling and saying that you're a fool and then Nick's going to end up being right and that I hate it when Nick's right? I don't need to say any of that stuff. If Nick ends up being right, fine. I would hate it because I think I have watched a lot more of the Cavs than he has this year, I got to tell you. But so be it. So be it. 216-474-0092. But if I'm blaming anybody, quote unquote, Donovan's always like Donovan. I find it hard to blame Donovan when he's the reason you're here in the first place. I find it hard to blame James Harden because he just got here. I've been begging Evan to maybe be somebody he's not for the last 5 years. And I don't want to overdo it on criticism because he was so damn good in the first 2 games of the series, especially game 2. But man, it is really upsetting when he goes in and he turns in a turd like that during the postseason when you needed to finish that series off. If you're up 3-1, I mean, we're having a coronation on Wednesday night. Now it's a ball game. Yes.
So you're putting it on Evan because he's not living up to the expectations you set for him?
And you're going to say, why am I not blaming Donovan?
Yeah.
Donovan, I think, is maximizing everything he's capable of. I don't think that Evan is. I think physically we've gotten everything we possibly can out of Donovan Mitchell, and he's older. And I think that he's a guy that probably wants to be a number
but
one.
When you set the bar so high and he has never come close to hitting that bar.
Which one?
Evan.
Well, Kenny.
At some point, that bar's got to change.
Oh, but that's my problem, is that I'm not the one who set the bar originally. Like that was the draft that set the bar. The conversation around him that set the bar for him, that's what I want him to be able to achieve. Donovan, I think, is maximizing everything he can. I think in the grand scheme of things, if we don't get to where we need to go, Donovan's going to have to realize that he's not a number one, that he is a passenger, not a driver. James Harden had to realize he was a passenger, not a driver. Evan, I thought, could be a driver. And a lot of Cavs fans, and myself included, banked on Evan being a driver.
Well, I just one more note. I know we got to go. We got a lot of stuff to do.
I want to get to these calls, too,
The fact that James Harden's come here and had the ball in his hands this much, and it looks like guys are deferring to him this much, that's a problem. I made a lot of I thought going and getting James Harden made sense on a lot of levels, but going and getting him and making him your number one, that made sense on no levels. That was not supposed to be the role James Harden was here for. Why are guys passing up shots and throwing the ball to James Harden with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, 30 feet from the basket? That is not the point of James Harden. That's not what he's here for. If you're trying to act like James Harden is like MVP Harden from 6 to 8 years ago, then this thing's dead on arrival anyway.
Well, I'm not. But when you're saying that other guys aren't stepping up, it's the same problem. It's just a different guy. He's the better player between him and Darius Garland, but you're just giving me the same issues that we've had over the past handful of years. You know, I'm trying to stave off some of those conversations, but again, if they lose this series, then the truth's right there for everybody. So there's no reason for me to start screaming and yelling. You're obviously not anywhere who we thought you were going to be, and heads are going to roll. Kenny would be gone. Maybe even Kobe would be gone. A lot of these guys are getting traded. We're getting ready to do some serious things. I'm just letting everybody know what the alternative is to not winning this series. So there's no reason for me to start screaming and yelling. If they lose the next 2 games, might be a different story for me. I might be mad because I have to face the consequences of what this could very well be. I don't think it's going to get there yet either. I'm still confident they're going to win this series. 216-474-0092. I want a lot of people. They're getting in. I'm going to get to you guys. Who are you blaming for the Cavs' loss? Are you feeling worse about the series? Is it an overreaction to overreact to what happened yesterday? And they are better, those Cleveland Browns, but by how much? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan. American Platinum Door and Gate. You, over there in North Olmsted, you.
the best segments from all our shows, you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
1,000%. We weren't making shots, and our defense held true. That takes a lot for a group to be like open look after open look, not having your head down. Like that's what you want out of a group. But you feel like you could have got one, but we didn't.
It's Donovan Mitchell. I'm not blaming him. I mean, he plays for the Cavs, so I guess some blame goes to him, but I'm not putting it on him. Other people got to step up too. Sloppy game, sloppy day. Other people got to step up and end the slop. You were up by 8 with just over 4 minutes left, just under 4 minutes left. You're up by 8. To let it get away is unacceptable. It's a 2-2 series. I'm still not freaking out. You're the better team, and I just will accept that I know what's ahead of us if things don't go our way. And I think a lot of Cavs fans will be fine with it going, what's the point of holding on to it if we can't even get out of the second round? And if you end up losing in the first round. So there's no point of me losing my mind on it, and I ain't going to do it. But I do want to play the blame game on who you guys blame, because I'm not going to put it on Donovan. And I'm not going to put it on James Harden.
Yeah, Nick,
at the end of it, they're both guards.
Nick Wright was all over the James Harden thing. I'm like, they're
Nick's from Houston. You know how this is going to go.
Every possession is ending in a turnover or a bad shot. Did you watch the game? Like the turnover thing to me, yeah, there were some hellacious turnovers. And obviously, to me, Donovan Mitchell had the worst by far.
Yeah.
Not getting the ball across half court in that moment, that was brain dead type stuff, and I never use that term. I love Donovan Mitchell. I don't know how that happens. I can't fathom one of the best players in the game doing something that dumb. I can't believe it happened.
Seth in South Euclid, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Seth.
It's Chuck.
All right, we're doing
Chuck.
well. Go ahead, Chuck.
Change that name.
Yeah, listen, it seemed like the Cavs are not really focused. Brad Sellers said that. I was listening to the post-game show the other day.
Okay.
And it just seemed like they wasn't focusing the game. Like maybe they think they're on a vacation up in Canada or something, you know. But and it seems like to me when Merrill and Wade get the ball, they don't shoot it. They just pass it back to Harden or Mitchell. So the Raptors know there's only two guys that's getting the ball, which is Mitchell and Harden. Makes it easy for them to guard those guys. That's why they're getting double teamed. But if those other guys start to break out of this and start shooting, then they had.
Merrill's the only one that shot well yesterday.
And got fouled, by the way. They took a point off the board, but then didn't send him to the free throw line. Somebody explain that one to me?
Mm-mm. Yeah. Well, you know, and like I said, it's up to the coach to get them motivated for this game Wednesday.
But it's up to them to motivate themselves.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, Chuck, if we were sitting here talking about college football or something like that, maybe I'd think that. And Chuck, thank you for the call. Is they got to motivate themselves. They got to rally themselves. Kenny Atkinson can't go out there and play it for them. He can't go out there and effort them in a sloppy basketball game. It's going to come down to that. I hate to do the who wants it more thing because I think that's a way overrated thing. But the Lord Almighty, if you're going to sit there and have such a bad game, sloppy game on both sides, what's it come down to then? Yes.
I just want to play this from Donovan Mitchell. I've brought up the 8-second thing, and Anthony just brought it up as well. Donovan was asked about it in the postgame. Here's his thoughts on that.
You give credit to Sheed. I tried to get by Scotty, and then he just came in. There was nowhere for me to throw the ball, but you got to give credit. But if I just get the ball up faster, changes the game. But you give credit where credit's due. I made a mistake in a crucial moment.
And he's owning up to a mistake there, right? Like
More of the shades in the press conference, too, by the way. What do you think about that look?
I didn't even notice.
I just saw some people saying.
Well, the last time I saw a guy put on shades to block out the haters.
We went 0-16.
So I saw some commentary on that. He couldn't even look at people in the eyes. I'm like, come on, it's the NBA. You know, guys do weird things.
It just goes back to me to the end of last year, and I hate to keep bringing up the 82-0 thing, but when you make the comment, right, and I think he did that to motivate his teammates as well as motivate himself. Well, it's time to start paying off all of those motivators, right? And it really sucks when you're the guy not doing that. No, he at least admitted his mistake and all that.
Hater blockers were. I'm sorry. Now I'm focused on that. Hater blockers was the dumbest thing ever. Nobody hated you. They felt bad for you. There was pity. You could call them pity blockers. No one hated you. Who hated them? Except for like their own fans. Who hated them?
Right,
Nobody hated them. Corey Coleman and Josh, especially Josh Gordon. Yeah. You could call them pity blockers, but not that. John in Walton Hills. Hello, John.
Ken, 1 through 10.
Okay, all righty.
Go ahead.
Say his name
go
and
ahead.
you'll say it again.
Go ahead and call me Jonathan Edwards, all right? And I'll tell you why. Because I feel like everybody in Northeast Ohio who's uttered the word unicorn in the last 5 years should feel like a big old group of sinners in the hands of an angry God.
I thought you were talking about the senator.
There's no possible way. Well, let me ask you this. Can I answer your question with a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's what this show does best.
That's what we do.
If you could change it right now, if I told you I could guarantee you Evan Mobley could get 10 points and 10 boards every single night for the rest of his career, would you do it?
10 points and 10 boards. Yeah, but he would not be the unicorn anymore. He just
because
be a
right
solid
now
player.
that would be an upgrade. Yeah. Right now that would be an upgrade over the current Evan Mobley, a measly 10-10 at that size and that skill set. It's terrible.
Well,
Unicorn.
You made me
couldn't
feel
have been
good.
Farther from the truth. He's more like one of those mini ponies.
I wanted to call him a unicorn
John,
after the first two games.
John,
You're
everybody
right.
talked about him in a Giannis trade. I threw out yesterday. How about a straight up for Bam trade with the Miami Heat?
We're going to get an 84-point game then.
One's a dog, one's not.
Whoa.
John, thank you for the call.
Now, obviously, Bam has reached his ceiling. I don't know where the 80-some point game came out. That was one of the wildest things ever. But playing pick and pop with Bam, you can't play any pick and pop at all with Evan Mobley. He's zero threat to shoot the ball.
Josh and Berea. Josh, you're next up on the fan.
Oh, what's up, fellers? Hey, so long time no talkie, you know. That was kind of deliberate because my last phone call was during the James Harden trade, and I said it was a desperate move. And in Lima for months, and I let him go, and he was saying that these people don't know ball in this town. They don't know this, that, and the other.
Hey, you got anything to add to today's show, Josh?
Yeah, but what I realized is this is James Harden's 44th playoff game where he had more turnovers than field goals made.
By the way, it wasn't accurate. It was a bogus stat, but go ahead. I saw everybody run with it because Nick Wright had it, but it wasn't even right.
Got called out on it, Josh.
Might need to take a couple more months off, Josh.
But Josh, you're leading with the Harden. You thought Harden was the problem yesterday?
I mean, I'm just saying 17 turnovers in the last two games versus
But you thought
8
Harden
definitely contributes to losing basketball games,
I think
right?
there are 10 dudes that are contributing to the losing basketball. I thought James actually at least was unafraid. I watched a bunch of other guys cower and not take shots. Like, why is Max Strus out there if he's going to pass up open threes? What's the point of that?
I mean, also, let's just also look at the writing on the wall here. I mean, this is just when a team gets physical with the Cavs, you would just shelter away. And you can't say that these careless turnovers don't contribute to losing. Like, I mean, I can put the blame on Donovan Mitchell, but, like, at the end of the day,
6 of 24.
The guy.
When did the
6 of 24.
When did the latest turnovers happen? Let's go. I mean,
did you like his backboard pass? Did you like that? Did you like him not getting the ball?
Yeah, I loved him bricking wide open threes. I love that as well.
Does he have vertigo?
Awesome,
I mean, he was hitting the side of the backboard. Where did that come from? This is one of the assassins in the NBA, raising up and chucking the ball off the glass. What was that?
Just, classic Cavs ball, baby. We call it guards ball, right, when it comes to the Guardians. Let's just call this Cavs ball. And when it comes to a playoff series, it doesn't matter. Anyone we match up with, it's going to be at least a 6-7 game series.
Josh is right. Josh is right.
Thank you for the call.
The hard move, and I said this at the time, 100% a desperate move. To get off of a guy 9 years younger, it was a desperate move.
I'm not blaming Harden for this.
I will say.
I know there's a lot of turnovers there.
Do you guys think this would have been a Darius Garland series?
No. No.
If we're talking about
physical play with Toronto,
would he have been able to dribble in this series?
So why am I? I'm not going to blame James Harden for this as much.
Like, James at least had 2 good games to start off.
They're all players on the team, so there's some degree of blame for everybody when you turn over the ball that many times. Like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So there's definitely something there. But again, I can't keep begging Evan Mobley to be better than what he is, than what we all thought he was going to be. Everything else, Donovan, I think, is at the peak of his powers and is doing everything he can. Yeah, yesterday was a clunker, no doubt about it. But for the series that it's 2-2, I don't know. I saw one guy go up to Canada, and he just completely forgot what he was in the first 2 games of this series. And that's a problem. And it wasn't Donovan, and it really wasn't James Harden. James Harden is who he is. So who was it? Who was it? I can't make him do it. I'd love to. I can't make him do it. So I got to blame It's not me trying to find somebody else to blame because I'm afraid to blame
Let me ask you this.
Donovan Mitchell.
Who did you feel in the last 2 minutes? Obviously, we know Donovan took those shots. Who did you want the ball in the hands of? And if you even have to wait and think, then that is a problem.
Well, it's sad. I know who I wanted the ball in the hands of, and it shouldn't be that guy, but it was Sam Merrill.
Oh, Merrill? Yeah.
He was the only guy that looked like he was ready to go compete yesterday. I thought Jalen Tyson looked decent.
Well, here's
I
the
thought
trouble.
Dennis Schroeder in the 2 minutes he got to play in the game looked pretty good, but
Until
they don't play him now.
Then he had 2 terrible turnovers. Keon Ellis is an afterthought.
He's not on the team, right?
I had a tweet over the weekend about another player on a different team, and people skewered me. I'm like, guys, Keon Ellis doesn't even play. He's not even in the rotation. That was supposed to be some steal of a trade.
Yeah.
In addition to the Harden trade, like they don't even trust him. And like having Merrill out there and Strus, you want those guys out there because of the floor spacing. But good luck going small again. You can't get a rebound.
This conversation.
So look how hard
me.
this is. Look how hard it is.
And that depression's brought to you by
by Surfside Hard Iced Tea that asks you to please enjoy that Surfside Hard Iced Tea responsibly.
Probably getting a better headspace, but yeah.
Hey, they were helping me with the depression over the weekend.
Mike and Stowe, you're next up on the Fan.
Good morning, guys. How are we doing today?
We're doing wonderful, Mike. Go ahead.
Hey, love Andrew Barrett. Good job.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
There
I
you
like
go.
that draft.
There you go.
You know, I love those
Yeah.
It's a good draft. Hold on, Mike. Hold on, Mike.
Put up the W.
Thank you.
Have you seen The Matrix? Have you seen the draft Matrix? Browns, A plus,
Did you see
A minus, B plus, A.
Dane Brugler did his power rankings. Guess where the Browns clocked in? Number 1. Did the draft power rankings.
Folks,
the Browns clocked in at number 1 for Dane Brugler.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. It's an April W for your Cleveland Browns.
See what happens when you let the baseball guy go back to baseball? You see what happens? Andrew Barry played football his whole life. You think he forgot how to draft good football players? Finally, we got rid of Rasputin.
Football guy.
We finally got Rasputin out of here. We got football guys in charge again. That I will stand by.
And Catherine Hickman.
She knows she's a football person. She knows what she's doing. That's
Football
right.
individual.
We're football people.
And Tom Telesco.
Tom Telesco did a pretty decent job for a while.
Football got Chris Polian.
Who's that? That's Bill. Wait, is that
It's another Polian?
Name that
We've
Polian.
got dueling Polians in Northeast Ohio.
Wait, there's Bill, and then I thought you were talking about the son over at John Carroll, the coach at John Carroll.
No, his brother.
And we have a Chris Polian here. Okay. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Well, we'll do that tomorrow and name that Polian.
No worries. I had to tip my hat. It's the first time I've been on the air with you guys since draft.
Let's go! Let's go! How about the Browns? Taylor, great ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah. Oh, no. Turn the music off.
Weapon.
He's not allowed.
They got themselves
you're not
a
allowed
weapon
to do it.
in the
You're
6th
not allowed
round.
to do it.
Just need to
You
convert
thought
them.
it was a wasted
Just-
6th
no, I
round pick
didn't.
as if there
I
is
said
such a
convert
thing.
them.
If there is
Just
such a
need
thing,
to convert 'em.
you will wait to convert him. Let him play
Get
quarterback
him out
at
of the
first.
Don't give him the code to the quarterback room.
Where was he drafted?
Get him over in the
Where
other
was he
room.
drafted?
Sixth
Was he
round.
drafted? Was he drafted as a quarterback?
Yeah.
So
Ooh, I don't know about
if he
that.
wasn't drafted, then you could try to sit there and tell me
I
that
had
he
him
needs
as
to
an
switch positions.
ATH on my
Go
board.
ahead, Mike. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, so like I love those little trade ups too that he does. You know, trade downs and trade ups.
Value added, folks. Value added. Extracting value out of a stone. How does he do it? 2 straight years. Travis Hunter. Can you even tell me what position he plays?
That's our GM. That's our GM.
Yes.
On the trainer's table, I'm pretty sure.
Our GM. All right, Mike. What were you going to say?
I was going to get back to the ugly cast. And
They got 2 receivers in this draft. They got 2 receivers in
with
this
first
draft.
round grades.
First round grade.
My
We had 4
God,
first
how
round.
many?
We had 4 first round draft picks this year.
Count
We
them,
had
1, 2,
4
3,
first round
4.
draft picks.
I don't want to check the obvious, like we did great, but what if Tyson was still there at 9? What would he have done? That's what I want to ask him. You know, would he have switched it around? I'm glad he didn't. I love the way it played out because, man.
I loved it too.
Yeah.
Good players on the football team. Good football players.
I'm glad he didn't take Jordan Tyson because I would keep messing their names up between the two. I can't do that, so forget it. Spencer Fano, I ain't messing his name up. Go ahead. Well, actually, no, I got Logan Fano here, too. Damn it. Well, either way.
2 Fanos.
2 Fanos.
2 Fanos for the price of one.
baby. Laser eyes, Andrew Berry doing it again.
It looks like like Andrew Berry knows how to get players on this team.
Andrew had laser eyes, man. It's just Paul Podesta putting the blindfold on him. That's what was going on.
He's really matured. I think he's really learned from his mistakes in the past, and he has more arsenal to be dealing with. But he made some. He really has, I think, grown as a GM.
Hell yeah!
Germinating.
Mike, I gotta let you go. Thank you for the call.
Getting better with age, more years, more experience, more seasoned. Your GM is coming for the rest of the NFL. Hey, the odds might say fifth worst Super Bowl odds.
I do think the
number one draft.
I think the approval rating is up, by the way. It's got to be up.
Come on.
It's got to be up. Like, it was probably as low as it's been. It's up. What do you think is the approval rating of him? 40?
Oh, I think it's north of 50 now.
No, is it? Are you being facetious, or are you telling me the truth?
So you're telling me more people approve than disapprove?
I believe so. Yeah, that's a win.
That is a win.
That's a W. Yes, mark it down.
Actually, I want to throw that out there as a question.
Put it out there.
It'd be a W.
Okay.
I mean, what are the Steelers doing? They got their radio hosts.
They're challenging people to fight.
Yeah, challenging people in this climate, by the way. In this climate, in public.
Offering to fist fight people.
651 Holiday Drive. Get in your car now. I'll be done at 2 o'clock.
Deranged.
You got Daryl Ryder shoving Pony in a locker.
Yep.
In a locker.
Speaking of the draft, how much of a difference did this weekend make to what the Cleveland Browns can do in 2026? Ken Carman and Anthony Lima, I'll say that coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. If you
employer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
So it was a game on Sunday at 1 o'clock. They lost, and I feel the same way I do in the fall. And it even resembled the way bad games have gone in the past with the Browns. I'm going to admit this for the first time today. I had to go back and watch the final 3 minutes because I was shocked that they lost. I cannot tell you. So I've admitted this before about the Browns. There are 2 games in the past, which I want to let everybody know. I know that things didn't go well, but we do have Cavs tickets tomorrow at 6 a.m. Chance to win Cavs tickets tomorrow at 6 a.m.
So you got to be locked in at the beginning of the show tomorrow.
So you got to be listening to the show.
You got to be ready to go.
You can go see the Cavs on Wednesday, but you got to be listening to the beginning of the show tomorrow at 6 a.m. So let me say this. There have been 2 games. They were actually in the same season, come to think of it. The game against Tennessee and the game against the Cowboys.
The opener.
No. The opener I was there for. It was basically Clockwork Orange. I had to see every single moment, man, every moment. And I remember I was getting into it with people on Twitter. I'd had a couple of drinks, by the way, afterwards, and I was getting into it with people on Twitter. Go, this is only one game. They're going to get this figured out. Boy, were you guys right, and was I wrong? I got all defensive. Yeah, bad, because I wanted to go better. But there were 2 other games. There's the Cowboys game, which they blew out the Cowboys, but then the Cowboys started to make a comeback there towards the end, and I got freaked out, and I turned everything off and just stared into the dark because I have the apps of the teams on my phone, and they'll send a push-button notification after the game. So there have been 2 instances. One against the Titans when they got out to a big lead. Titans started to make a comeback. I got nervous, turned off the game. And then I went back and watched it afterwards. And the same thing happened that season with the Cowboys. And I just wait for my phone to buzz with the final score. And both those times it said Browns. I'd probably have done it before as well with other ones. And it says Browns win. And I'm like, great, fantastic, good day. And let's go back and let's watch the final whenever I turned it off. 8 minutes of the game, whatever, getting nervous. Yesterday, there was just under 4 minutes left to go. They are up 8. And they're going to commercial. And I go, I can't take it. And I turned it off, and I just stared at my phone for an eternity, thinking that they're going to win the game. They'll be fine. They'll win the game, 3-1. And my phone buzzed, and my phone buzzed, and it was my buddies. Like, they started texting. And see, this is the difference here, is my buddies started texting, and it was just my one friend naming old Perry players that played basketball back in the day. And it all just started with Cavs looking like an okay pickup basketball team with players like Billy Noggle, Mark Ramsey, Crable, Kenny Woolhey, the old Perry guys, right? Actually, Crable went to Maslin, but either way. And I just figured my buddy was disappointed, but they're still winning. Because it was a sloppy game, and a lot of people were disappointed even though they were still winning. And I go, okay, and my phone buzzed, and I saw my final score. I was shocked. And then I had to go back and had to watch because I go, well, now I got to see how they did it. So, like the Donovan thing, I had to go back. Like, it sucked. It really sucked. This is the first time that ever happened to me. Usually it's good news.
So you watched that last 3 minutes twice, and you came away with something other than Donovan Mitchell was the reason.
Yeah, because I went back and I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole game, and I was upset with Evan. I'm not going to put it all on Donovan. I'm going to put it on Evan. I'm sorry. The whole reason we're in this conversation in the first place is because of Evan that we're playing for any, or because of Donovan that we're playing for any stakes. I can't just keep blaming everything on Donovan. All right? I don't think he's the right person to blame. I got to expect more out of Evan Mobley. And I just thought if he had something better to throw to the block, if he wasn't so timid, we'd have been better off and we would have won. If you're not hitting your threes, you got to be able to whip it inside. I need more. That's all. So I'm not going to blame it on Donovan. I'm not going to blame it on James. It sucked. I didn't see it twice, so I saw it once. It was a delayed thing, and I go, fine. How did this happen? It's like a murder investigation. But Wednesday's another day, and I don't think they're going to lose the series. How many wins did you think the Browns were going to get before the draft? How many wins in the season?
I said 6, I think. 5 or 6.
You said 6. Okay. You said 6.
Yeah.
All right. How many do you think now?
7.
You think they're going to win 7 games?
That would be the over, right?
That would be the over.
What did I say?
Wait, are they trading Myles Garrett, though? That's kind of important.
I'll tell you June 2nd.
Of course they're trading. Wait, they're not trading. Of course they're not. Whoa. Of course they're not trading Myles Garrett. Of course they're not trading Myles Garrett. Of course they're not trading Myles Garrett.
I know some people that disagree.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll cross that bridge when we get there, okay? Hopefully we never have to approach the bridge. If they do trade Myles Garrett, then it's a completely different conversation. But I can only go on what I know.
If you've approached the bridge and they trade Myles Garrett, what will you do next?
First overall pick, 2027 NFL Draft. Odds are out. Arch Manning, 5-2. Dante Moore, 4-1. Jeremiah Smith, 7-1. Jeremiah Smith has no chance to be taking number 1. Come on. 7-1. Julian saying 8-1. CJ Carr, 10-1.
Will Andrew Berry be the one making the picks next year? Right now, I'm saying yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm saying yeah.
Hell yeah.
I thought this was a great draft. I think that you came out of here with I'm not putting gold jackets on anybody, but I think you came out of here with solid football players. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Keep going.
4 starters, maybe 5, even though that's round 5. Well, maybe 6. Those are both in the 5th round.
Next time I see Andrew at Healthy Kids Running Series, I'm going to say good draft. Good draft, Mr. Berry.
5 star. I think you get 5 starters out of this. If you get 5 starters that are quality out of this, is great. Great draft. I think this is a really good draft. I'm approving of the job. It's amazing. One guy goes to do baseball, and here I am just loving everything they do. Hopefully it stays that way. Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Danny was wonderful. Danny Cunningham. Go listen to that interview, 923thefan.com. Remember, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., your chance to win Cavs Game 5 tickets against the Toronto Raptors. What were you going to say?
Do you understand the pressure on Donovan Mitchell on Wednesday in that arena? Our producer came in this morning and said could be the last game Donovan Mitchell plays as a Cav at home.
And you agreed that it could be.
Everything's on the table.
I'm not going to go that far. Thanks to Daryl Ryder, who joined us. He says the Browns are better. How much? Find out. 923thefan.com. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10 for Big Country. For Jeff, for John, for Tone, I'm Ken. Have a wonderful day. Go Guardians.
Well,
Go
I got
Guardians.
my nipples pierced.
And
What
go
are you
Browns.
talking about?
Hey.
Sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh!